Good morning. What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation. It starts right now. Give me your thummy thumbs. Look at Blender. Blender's rocking out to the music. You like the fade out, don't you, Blender?
Well, yeah, it's better than the abruptness of yeah, I'm on. Oh, hey, what's going on?
Typically at this time, 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess it's not the afternoon technically, right? The morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's call it that. You're yelling at people. You're telling them good morning, but I didn't want to blow anybody's speakers out. I spared them, so you're welcome. And for that reason, you can give me your thummy thumbs. And why am I here? Why are you not hosting? It's because there's afternoon baseball, Blender. Afternoon baseball. We got Kevin Roth coming back today. The return of Roth. Roth is back. Good news. Bad news. He brought weather with him. Of course he did. One of my favorite pitchers today, Cole Reagans. I expect a bounce back for him. Orange is last I saw. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in chat for the people. I'm going to give it a refresh, but I assume we're still at orange yet. Toronto, Kansas City is a straight orange. Two different slates today, DK and FanDuel. They did not get together. They did not come to an agreement. DK included the Dodgers. The Dodgers in Washington. FanDuel did not. We did not. No, we don't talk about the first game that's being played like at 12:30 or whatever it is. I think Pittsburgh's playing somebody. That is not on our slate. The first game starts at 1:10. Several games start at 1:10 on the East Coast. No Byron Buxton, day game after a night game. We are getting Bryce Harper back. He was on baby watch. He was out for several games. Also on baby watch, Machado. I don't think Machado is going to be back. He seems unlikely to come back in that game for San Diego. Blender, happy Thursday. Have you finished up your mock draft? I imagine you've been up all night mocking. That definitely seems like something.
I've been mocking people that do mock drafts. That's more my style. No, I haven't.
Why do people love mock drafts? I don't. They just want to see their one. Who the Steelers taking? Oh, all right, we got a lineman. There we go. Like, is that what? I don't get the appeal of mock drafts, but people love it. I don't. Right, have at it. But
you know me. I don't get the appeal to know anything about what's going on with the NFL till 2 days before the first regular season slate. So, I was waiting right? Then. I don't even know who's on what team until then.
Do you have a team in the NFL?
I mean, I used to be a Giants fan.
I assume one of the New York teams. Yeah. Why Giants over Jets? Just kind of like what certain territory.
No, my father had season tickets for over 40 years to the Giants.
Oh, so you did he take you with?
Yeah. He had season tickets with 3 of his friends for even before Giant Stadium existed, like when they were playing in like Jay and the Yale Bowl or whatever. And then whenever one of his friends can't go to a game, typically whenever one of them couldn't go to a game, the son of whoever, they all had kids. And so, I've been to, I don't know, 20, 30 Giants games, some decent playoff games, stuff like that. Our seats were second row in the end zone.
Oh, so, nice.
They were great seats when the game is on your side of the field.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then you watch the screen.
Terrible.
Because the depth and also the depth perception. You'll see a run on the opposing 30-yard line, and you can't tell if it's a 4-yard run or a 24-yard run because you're just looking directly at them. But when they're at the goal line on your side, it's like you could see the quarterback's eyes move, and you could see you're really close.
Are we talking like Phil Simms era, Eli Manning era? What year are we talking about?
Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler, then the Kent Graham. Then we have the awful eras, with Ray Handley as the coach, with Rodney Hampton as running back, like that era. And then by that time, I was already in my 20s, and that was so. But mostly the late 80s, early 90s.
We're running it back as far as the wheel. We gave away a week free of RG Premium. Doing that once again today. Producer Devin is at the helm. Do jump in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Jump in the live stream chat channel. Devin's got a post in there. Just click the avatar. You'll be eligible. He'll throw your name up on the wheel. We're going to spin that wheel around noon or so. We're going to be doing some tiers later on. Do want to say what's up to the chat. Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Give us the thummy thumbs. Hit everything. Hit all the buttons. Today's poll question. I just came up with a poll question. Will you be watching the draft tonight? This is for the people. All of it, some of it, or no, none of it. All of it, some, all, or none. Will you watch the NFL draft tonight? I might watch Draft Day, the Kevin Costner movie, because it's been a long time. I think it's terrible, but I think it's one of those is like you lean into it and it's fun. I think it's like a fun terrible. You made a face, Blender. You're not a fan of Draft Day or Kevin Costner.
No, because it's not really the most realistic. To be fair, I'm going to say something that's surprising. I probably will be checking out part of the NFL draft. I will.
You have bets. No,
I have no bets because the owner of one of the owners of the Jaguars got injured on yesterday's wrestling show, and I want to see if in the war room that he's selling the injury.
Well, that would be amazing. Oh, I saw that clip. I did see that clip on Twitter. Yeah, they attacked. Well, they were both out there, right? The Jaguar.
Tony Khan was out there. He's the head of the wrestling company, and his father basically owns the Jaguars and Fulham, and they all have ownership share. I mean, they're multi-billionaires. They're one of the richest families in the world. And then he came. He was the first time that his father was ever made an appearance on the AEW show in 5 years. Of just like the way that he walked out was like he let his son play, all his friends in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
And then he just comes out, and then all chaos is going on, and his son is lying on the ground, and he's walking out going like, what the hell is going on back here? Like just clueless.
He's got to sell it, right? You got to play along and sell. Otherwise, it's breaking
in the war room. He's got to have the neck brace.
Yeah, hopefully that they play along. We just got a Royals lineup, by the way. Hopefully they do play baseball. I did go ahead and drop this in chat, but again, Royals currently orange. Roth will be on in about an hour and 10 minutes, give or take, for crunch time. Garcia, Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, Melendez, Frazier, Massey, Fermin, Isbell. So that means so Sal Perez is playing first. So they're playing two catchers. Okay. Just looking at that lineup. Yeah, Perez is the first baseman. Fermin is doing the catching. Did get a Boston lineup as well. Duran, Devers, Refsnyder, Abreu. Are you serious? No, Tyler O'Neill, my favorite player on the slate, is not playing baseball today. Unbelievable. We might have bet some Boston first 5 innings to score some runs. Duran, Devers, Refsnyder, Abreu, Reyes, Dahlbeck, Hamilton, McGuire, Rafaela. Oh, that is terrible. We really wanted Tyler O'Neill in that lineup today, Blender. We're not happy. I'm fully tilted. That's not good. Okay. Because I really want to pick on McKenzie. McKenzie's he can't keep getting away with this. At least he has against 2 bad teams, but I don't know if you know he's pitching with like a broken arm, basically.
McKenzie nursing an injury? Dean, isn't McKenzie nursing an injury of some sort?
Of some sort. He's got a torn ligament in his elbow, and not just any elbow, his throwing elbow.
So why is he pitching?
I don't know, but his velocity is down. His velocity is down. And also, I just want to confirm, but I'm fairly certain this. I don't want to misspeak. Yeah, so McKenzie has a higher walk rate than K rate this season on the year. And it's not a big sample, obviously. It's 18 innings. But his K rate in the season is 13.3%. His walk rate is 18.1%. I will repeat this. His walk rate is 18%. His K rate is 13%. As a general rule, Blender, it's not good when your walk rate is higher than your K rate.
And those are the best pitchers, Dean, in DFS. If you're going to use a heuristic, a lot of people they target bats against like contact pitchers, right? You look on a slate and you go, oh, Dakota Hudson, right? Chase Anderson, something like that. This guy that doesn't strike out anyone out. Zach Greinke's, like the Wade Miley's, and they go, oh, well, these guys aren't going to strike out, so they have the chance of putting up a ton of, they're going to get the ball into play. No, the easiest way to score points in DFS is having guys on base in front of you, and that typically happens when you're facing a pitcher that can't help but walk 4 or 5 guys every time he goes out to start. It moves the order down, so you get more plate appearances. So in general, I'm much more likely to play stacks against pitchers that have high walk rates than ones that are just like low strikeout pitchers.
Yeah, by the way, Michael in chat says he's in downtown Detroit. Get this draft out of my city ASAP. Yeah, apparently they've taken over the city, the NFL draft. I'm sure the traffic is a nightmare, I would imagine. So Bobby Gomes is with us as well. What's up, Bobby? Friend of the show, Dean, big mock draft guy. No, not at all. I will not be watching a second of it. Devin did drop the poll in chat, but I like how Devin, he had some color to it. Like, will you be tuning into the draft tonight? Heck yeah, every second of it. I'll be popping in and out. I'd rather get an early bedtime. Now, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm not sleeping. I'm not watching the draft. I'm doing something else. I'm not going to be sleeping at 10 o'clock. I'm not doing that, but all right. Bobby's now saying we're not friends of the show, and he's asking about Zach Greinke. Remember Zach Greinke? I guess he's no longer in the league, right? Is he hurt?
Yeah, but he's the prototypical. If I'm going to make a point of like that contact pitcher, like he's the guy that everyone probably thinks of.
Did he retire? He's got to be like hurt, right? We would have heard if he retired. Shannon says Shannon will be watching Bravo. All right, probably one of those Andy Cohen shows. That guy's a freaking billionaire, and good. He figured it out. I don't know. The people love that. There's like 19 different versions of the Real Housewives. I'm sure you're into that as well in the Blender household. But yeah, today's baseball slate Blender. Again, bit of a wrench with Reagan's. Do you want to guess? I don't know if you remember his last start. He got absolutely shellacked. He got pummeled, whatever ads you want to use. But really the ads that we should use is BABIP. Do you know what his BABIP was his last start?
437.
Double it.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay, that's really high.
900. He had a 900 BABIP. 900. You hit the ball 90% of the time. It's a base hit. Obviously, it's small sample nonsense.
Did you check that out on Plate IQ?
No. Is that something I could see on Plate IQ for one game?
I don't think on the screen that you could see those types of maybe not in that one start, but just in general of how pitchers, how batters match up, strikeout rates, lefty righty splits, everything like that. That's part of our premium membership here, Dean. And I know it's unbelievable. I say this all the time. I do not know why we give away this stuff so cheaply, but you get $250 off, like a 6-month subscription, like by just clicking on the link in the description of this video, and you could essentially use all the tools that I use, and it's also all the tools that I use to bet on props and pick them and everything. And that's why I don't want people to use it. Right? The more people that use it, these numbers move too quickly. I don't want to have to. I don't want to be up at 2 a.m. trying to get these lines as early as possible because too many people are using our tools. So please do not click on the link in the description and join our premium membership.
Let me ask you a question though, Blender. What if I'm afraid of commitment? What if I don't want to commit to 6 months? If I don't want 6 months of NBA, PGA, MMA, MLB, what if I don't want all that? I don't want the bells. I don't want the whistles. I don't want the optimizer. I don't want the articles. Like 6 months, that's a big commitment. It's not for me. It's for the birds. What if I want just 1 month, Blender? Do you have something for me?
I think you get $40 off the first month or something. Something like $40 as the first month. It's what you get in $19.99 for 3 days. Like, I mean,
I was leading to that. That was the next bit.
Right. But, I mean, the thing is, I know our
what
audience.
if I'm really bad at commitment and I only want like a 3-day commitment?
Our audience are the type of men, and it's mostly men, truthfully. Okay, let's be clear about it. Yeah, there are plenty of women that play, but it's mostly men.
Everyone's welcome.
The men that watch this show, they last long. Okay, so none of this 3-day, in and out, and oh, I'm sorry that I finished my subscription too early. Like we have people that are watching that they could last 6 months. So I say, don't.
Frank Thomas has a pill for him in case they can.
I have confidence that we could. There are other subscriptions we could add some type of thing. You get a package and discrete package in the mail if that'll help you out with your 6-month subscription. But that's totally different.
All right, but I don't know if this is true. It's a good question, but they're asking if is there a standalone package for Plate IQ in the future? I have no idea if that's something the marketing team or those that make these decisions. That is above my pay grade, but maybe. I'm not sure, but. My understanding is, and I don't remember this being a thing, but apparently it was free last year, Plate IQ, which I don't know why it was. Again, not a decision that I make. You're not a man of the people. You don't like that. You don't want Plate IQ to be free for anybody. You're the guy telling the Carty to make the bat $4,000.
They forced me to go on these shows. I don't want to tell you what I'm going to do, right? I'm using these tools. It's like, no, I want the price to be $1 million and me getting it for free. And everyone else goes.
Do you not want to be here with me? Are you not enjoy? Is there somebody off camera right now?
Dean, I love the mornings with you. I like talking about this type of stuff. But I mean, for the most part, people tune in. I know. I see the comments. It's like, oh, this guy's on. The guy that just like, look at the projections and that's it. And whatever. Why is the show an hour and 20 minutes long? No, at some point, I need some recreation. To me, this is my recreation time. This is when I associate with human beings. And I think it's healthy for me. Because outside of this, I hate people.
Yeah, I was watching your show the other day, and I think you were on with Alex. You were talking about how you didn't want to interact with people so much to the point that when you go to the grocery store, you go to the self-checkout line. And I like the convenience of my stuff being bagged. So it's kind of like a push, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I guess I can bag my own stuff, but there's a certain convenience to it. And they're really good. They're professional. They know where to put the eggs. They know how to build out a bag. You know what goes on top, what goes on the bottom. These are decisions that are important.
I disagree with you, Dean. I think the baggers are awful. I think I'm the type of person, I want efficiency. When I bag my own groceries, if I could get everything into 2 bags and carry it like this, that's what I don't care. I'll put the eggs on top. That's fine. But I always go, they also do this click list stuff at Kroger. So my wife will order stuff on the app, and then you go and you park, and then they come out with, you know, and they load it into your car.
Well, that's amazing. How convenient is that?
Oh, that's amazing. Other than the fact of like, why did you just put a bag of M&Ms in one bag and that's it? That's the only thing that's in that goddamn bag.
They don't care about the environment.
Why are there 17 bags here?
You know, in Europe, they charge you per bag. Like, people bring their own bags to the store, and like if you want to buy a bag, or if you want to, you know, your stuff thrown in a bag, it'll cost like 5 or 10.
I'd rather that, so I could just tell them I want it all in. Give me the biggest bag and put it all in there. I don't care.
Well, no, they don't give you like a like a Glad bag, like a garbage bag.
Give me a garbage bag of my groceries. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll put it like a sack over my shoulder. I'll bring it into the house. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, people might misinterpret that if you're walking the highways.
Now Devin's showing SimLabs. Why are we allowing the free people to see all of our premium tools? Because it's
we got to give them a taste.
I guess I need to make different lineups. Everyone has the edge.
So you talk about SimLabs all the time, and you use it more than I do. Like, you make a bunch more lineups, and actually, I think you could speak to it, but you sometimes, even when you're making like 5 or 10 lineups, you'll use it to whittle down your 5 or 10. Tell the people how you do use your SimLabs.
Dean, today I'm playing 5 lineups. I play mostly mid-size contests between like 500 and 1,000. So like that $44 single entry contest today, like that level of contest, and I play a bunch of those types of things. I will build 150 lineups in SimLabs to use as my pool, and then weed out certain lineups that either like don't have enough up top 100 or have way too little of like in the money rate, depending on your risk tolerance. And I'll whittle that down to maybe, 20 or 30. And then I can sync SimLabs directly to Lineup HQ, because SimLabs uses the RG ownership, the RG data, the RG projections. But I also like using the bat, because I use the bat for my props and my pick'em. And I just convert it over to Lineup HQ. And then I have my 30 lineups there. And then I can weed out and go, do I really want to play a lineup today that like one lineup is projected median is like 103 and another lineup is like 78? It's like, yeah, the 78 lineup, I mean, that's a good like first or last place type of lineup. But maybe I just cut that out, and then I get to choose, okay, if I'm playing 5 lineups, maybe I only want to play 3 Yamamoto lineups, right? And then I'll just use the bat projections to determine which 3 Yamamoto lineups or which 2 Wheeler lineups, or we have to talk about this Simeon Woods Richardson guy. I go, how many lineups do I want to look like that? But the thing is that since all these lineups were spit out by SimLabs doesn't make bad lineups. It just makes lineups with different ranges of outcomes. Some are high variance, some are low variance. Some are more for large field, some are more profitable for small field. So like, to me, it's a dummy check of like, let me just get all the lineups from SimLabs so I know that I'm not making huge mistakes, because the whole point of GPPs and DFS is to those 3 levers of DFS, like I say in my course, theoryofdfs.com: projection, correlation, and leverage. And when you use Lineup HQ before as an optimizer, it's a dumb tool. It knapsack problem solves for like the fantasy point median. So you have to determine how many points of projection are worth giving up. How much is correlation worth? SimLabs does that for you. So that's why I create all the lineups in SimLabs, and then I bring it into Lineup HQ. And then I select which lineups to play from there. At most, I think yesterday I played 3 lineups. Took me 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Of course, none of them cash, but that's a different story. I mean, yeah, obviously, you're not guaranteed anything.
Process first results, Blender.
Right. I mean, right.
So the decision points on SimLabs, like again, you've delved into it much more than I have. I've messed around with it, but like I know you can mess with the variance. You can tell it, I want this stack. I don't want that stack, that kind of thing. I want to be this, highly variant. What other key decision points do you have that, is there stuff that's beyond the main page that's worth getting into?
The setting, truthfully, the settings don't matter. It's just how you want to weight. How do you want the SimLab rating is out of 100 points. So it'll show you, here's the lineup. Here's the SimLabs rating of the lineup. That rating is just all geared about what your weights are. Like you could put ownership as 100%. And it's just the highest rated lineup is going to be the lineup that has the highest optimal rate.
So you don't have a set standard. You kind of mess around with it, basically?
Yeah, you can mess around with it. And also, if you don't want certain things, you may look and go, I know that there are lineups like that, Dean. There are 2-1-1-2 types of lineups. There are 3-1-2 types of lineups that can be profitable. There are just less of them. But as a heuristic, a lot of people like playing 5-man stacks on DraftKings. So you could just be like, I don't even want to consider 4-man and 3-man stacks. So you could just go minimum stack 5 and not have to deal with even weeding those lineups out. You could say, hey, no matter what, I'm not playing the White Sox today, so don't even give it to me, right? There are lineups that are profitable with the White Sox stack, but if you just choose, it's like, I want to get up to 150 lineups that when I look at it go, hey, I could have hand-built this, and if it makes sense to you and the SimLabs rating is decent, there you go. You have a full lineup. Go play it.
Shannon in chat says, how are the White Sox still in MLB? They should be dropped to the minor leagues. I know you're a big fan of soccer, the football. Relegation would be amazing, right? Obviously, it's too difficult and it's too much, there's too much money involved, and there's too many ways that it wouldn't work. But it would make for a really interesting. Relegate the Marlins, relegate the A's. I don't know who you'd elevate. The Birmingham Barons or something. I have no idea if they're good or not. But just throwing out I don't know. But yeah, it's a fun conversation.
They should elevate the RotoGrinders softball team or something. We should start in the 7th division and work our way up.
All right. So you mentioned it. Cat's out of the bag there as far as Minnesota, right? Woods, Richardson. We should say it at the top. Not a good pitcher. He's not a good pitcher, but he's professionally trained to throw baseballs. And he's throwing those baseballs today against a team that allegedly is professionally trained to hit those baseballs, but haven't done a particularly good job of it. That's the White Sox, the aforementioned White Sox. And he's 4K on DK. We should be clear about that. He's 5.5 on FanDuel. I don't know how much you need that. Probably not nearly as much. It's his SB2, SB1 on FanDuel. Much different conversation. He's going to be really popular. And again, he's not great. He's like maybe an average AAA guy. And he was okay in his one start, but does not project to be
a strikeout pitcher, Dean. I mean, like the thing is that realize that this is not a guy that's going to come out and probably strike out 5 or 6 guys. Although he's facing the White Sox, and they may do it unintentionally anyway.
Yeah, Lopez, Mendick, Sheets, Jimenez, Grossman, Vaughn, Pilar, DeYoung, and Corey Lee. That is your Chicago White Sox lineup. Again, not especially good. They have a team total below 3, just barely above 3, 3.28. If you want to get all technical, he's projected, I think, to throw like 80 or so pitches. So he's mostly like basically a stretched out pitcher. It's just they were expected to have Ober. I think it was supposed to be Bailey Ober, and they pushed him back a day. So that's why this dude's pitching. How much are you embracing that? What are the Sims saying? What are you saying? Because we're not the only ones that see this. There are real live good pitchers in the slate, like Zach Wheeler and Yamamoto. Verlander's back. He's kind of lost his K stuff, but he's still really, really good and savvy. I really want to play Reagans, but I don't know if we're going to be able to have that option. But what is your have you decided what you're doing with Woods, Richardson? You're with the field. We currently have a 38% on DK, and I would say it will be higher. You're saying no. You're saying no to him.
No, I don't think he's going to be as high as 39%.
I will take the over.
He'll be owned. I mean, in the large field contest,
I'll take the over.
28, 30%. And I'll still
Why do you say that?
On that. it's a dynamic of this slate. The most important point of this slate is the C word. Okay.
Uh-oh.
And I know Devin's now just like, I see him going, uh-oh, what is
He's
he
got the
say?
button ready.
Right, he's got the button ready. Combinatorics. Okay.
Oh, there it is. That's the C word I was thinking of.
Right. That's the C word obviously everyone was thinking of. When you play Woods Richardson at 4K, like, and you play any other pitcher, I mean, even if you play Zach Wheeler at 10K, like, if you spend most of these, like, if you just optimize for projection right there, that means you're playing a Dodgers stack, you're playing a Padres stack. Like, you can afford the world essentially on this slate, anything you want. So a lot of lineups that have Woods Richardson are going to look similar to one another. You're going to see a lot of Woods Richardson meshed together with Fernando Tatis, right?
They don't have
together
to.
With
they don't have
like
to.
Devers at third base, like, because why wouldn't you take the highest projected pitcher as a one-off, player as a one-off at certain positions, Xander Bogaerts or something, especially in the middle infield spots. So, like, if you're building lineups with Woods Richardson, I'd be much more careful on you don't want to build lineups where, like, you're sharing 6 players with like 10% of the field, because it's like, oh, Padres stack, Woods Richardson, Yamamoto or Wheeler. It's like it comes down to the last 2 spots in your lineup, and if you have to beat everyone else out for that, I'd much rather not build lineups that look like that. I'd much rather, especially since Woods Richardson at 4K, best point per dollar value on the slate at pitcher.
Sure.
Right? From a median perspective, right? Is the best chance. His median is what? The bat has him at 13.5. But he's not the highest score. I mean,
we got him at 14, a little bit higher, just for the record. A little bit higher on RG projections.
Right. But I mean,
I'll take 12. You give me 12 points, no more, no less, we're good.
Yeah, but TPP 12 may not be enough. 12 is only enough.
My hitters will make up for it.
Dodgers stack scores 12 runs. I mean, if that doesn't happen, the combination of the two doesn't get you anywhere. I'm much more likely to, like, try to get 30 points at a pitcher spot when so many people are, like, accepting 12. The only thing is that it's a lot more uncomfortable because you're going to be playing a cheaper stack. You're not going to be able to stack the Dodgers or the Padres.
You don't get Bryce Harper.
You don't get Bryce Harper, right? Exactly. And with bats and hitters being much more variant than pitching, I'm much more likely to just be different with my stack. And it's not even a far-going conclusion that Woods Richardson could even score 12 points. I mean, like, the White Sox hit Pablo Lopez, right? The White Sox hit Joe Ryan.
It was a 3-run homer. No, okay. First of all, it was a 40-pitch inning. It was a 3-run homer to Eloy on a hanging curveball. He walked one guy, and it was a bloop single. It was a walk, a bloop, and a 3-run homer from Eloy, the one guy that could bang one out. I guess they all can bang one out, but they took him out a little bit early because, again, he threw about 39 or 40 pitches. He struck out the side, but the thing when you strike out the side and you give him 3 runs, you're going to throw a lot of pitches in an inning, and they didn't want to burn him out because, why would you overexhaust them for one inning? You got to think big picture, especially with what's going on with pitchers these days. But they're just to your point, like they got one guy hit a baseball essentially.
Yeah, but he's not a strikeout pitcher. It's like to me, it's like, would you play Dakota Hudson at 4K? It's like, if this guy gives up 2 or 3
against the White Sox, yeah, well. I would play Dakota Hudson.
But you're playing him because of that, not because of Woods Richardson. His ceiling is just it's not as high, and I think too many people are going to play lineups that have him and have an expensive stack. I think that combination will be overowned.
Alex, by the way, Alex,
the best combination. Yes, it is. But the point of we're talking on a DFS strategy show. Like, if everyone is going to jump off the Empire State Building, I mean, do you join them? No, you don't.
Well, no matter how many people are doing that, I'm out. So if it's contrarian or not contrarian, I'm out. It's not for me. But Alex is saying, well, just go ahead and play Heaney with Woods Richardson. No, I'm not going to play Heaney with Woods Richardson. I'm not playing Heaney. I'm not doing that. But that's one way. There you go. You're looking to get a little bit different. You don't have to stack. I was looking to play Boston stuff, and I still am going to play some Boston, but I'm really tilting that Tyler O'Neill is not in the lineup. He was legitimately my favorite, like, tournament player on the slate. I'm curious how popular Harper is going to be. Back from 3 days on hiatus. I guess hiatus is not the right word. He had a child. He had his 3rd child. So congratulations to him and his family. I was told in chat that Kyle Schwarber apparently has some BBP, nice ballpark there in Cincinnati. right out the gate, those two guys look pretty solid. Oh, no Christopher Morel in that Cub lineup. That's a terrible decision. Why would you not play Christopher Morel against a reverse splits Verlander? But okay, I guess he needs a day. Horner, Tauchman, Happ, Bush, Swanson, Madrigal, Amaya, Crow Armstrong. He had a cup of coffee last year, big prospect in their system, and Canario. Okay, so not the best Cubs lineup. We know that Bellinger is also on the IL. So Reagan's and Wheeler was kind of an interesting thought process. I like that, and what you're kind of pitching. And there are pitchers that can. I mean, we kind of talk about this here as far as pitchers. Like, where's the ceiling in anybody? Nobody has a ceiling, just the way things are going. But Wheeler's got a chance to strike out 10. Reagan's got a chance to strike out 10, weather permitting. So, and Yamamoto's is a guy that can strike out 8 or 9 or 10 on DK. He's not available on FanDuel. I do think it's interesting McKenzie's getting ownership because, again, I'm not going to play any McKenzie. I could be wrong about it. He's had 2 good starts against 2 terrible teams. His walk rate is higher than his K rate. I'm just not I just don't know what's going on there. I don't know why they're rolling him out there. His velocity is down a couple ticks as well. And but Castillo is on this slate. We haven't even talked about. Tough matchup in Texas, but Luis Castillo is awesome. Like he's spectacular as well. So there are pivots, and there are 2 guys that could very well put up 27, 28 and combine for 55, something like that. So I hear what you're saying. Of course, a homer or 2 can make up the difference really, really quickly. But like you said, arms are more predictive than bats. Jurgensen Provar could be the highest scoring hitter on this slate. Probably not the best example because he's perfectly fine as is. But, like the catcher in the 9-hole on the home team, that kind of thing that you never heard of.
Right, it could be Hunter Goodman. Hunter Goodman could be the key to the entire slate.
He was just called up for Colorado, and he's a bit of a prospect, and I'm assuming he's going to play. They called him up yesterday, but didn't play him, or at least didn't start him. I'm not sure if he wasn't in the building or what. They keep rolling out Charlie Blackmon. It's over for Charlie Blackmon. It is over. It was a good run, like good for him. But and I know I've said this before, but Anthony Rizzo, when he went out, he goes out and hits a couple homers, and he's going to bounce back. Had to have the Yankee stack last night. Shout out to Rizzo, but Blackmon, I think it's officially. Come on, we're wasting cores if that's the first guy we're rolling with. They're talking about Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. That is not in the main slate. We're not talking about that game. That game starts in about an hour or so. Thank you, Devin, for clarifying. The people are not aware. Again, if you want to get to Plate IQ, if you want to get the Sims, if you don't want to pay for it, we talked about how you can get it. You can get access to it. You can win it. You can win it for a week free. Just go ahead and jump in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump in the live stream chat channel. Just hit that avatar. Give me your strategy as far as pitchers. If you're not going to be rolling out Woods Richardson, are you just going to play double down and double barrel like old school style? Yamamoto, Wheeler.
That would be the contrarian way on this slate. I'm looking at. I think the best spot on the slate from a variance perspective is Heaney and the Mariners. Like, I feel like Heaney's 6K, and he does have upside to actually strike out a bunch. He also has upside to walk 4 and give up 10 runs, but that's why he's high variance. So I'd much rather play, because at 6K, it's not like the 2K does anything. Like, try to make a lineup with Richardson and Wheeler. Like, you can play whoever you want. It gets the salary is almost.
You should put that on a t-shirt. You can coin that if you want. Just an idea. Just spitballing.
So the 2K doesn't really matter that much. So, like, I'll build the same lineup with Heaney. And then I also don't mind. I'm playing 5 lineups today. I'll play a Heaney lineup, and I'll play a Mariners lineup because I think that's a good spot that it's possible. Much more bimodal outcome, right? It's less likely to just be, he gives up 4 runs and 5 strikeouts and nothing really much happens. He's the type of pitcher where he may be coming out in the 2nd inning because he's given up 8 runs, or he pitches 7 innings with 11 strikeouts because he's very efficient. So I feel like that's the unheralded spot on the slate. I think people will be focused way too much on the Coors game, especially on the San Diego side. On the Dodgers, if they spend up, obviously on the DK slate. Maybe a little bit on the Astros. I don't mind that as much. And then obviously the Phillies against Nick Martinez. You know me. I like to try to find natural ways to get different where I'm also not sacrificing, a ton of points in projection. And I'm running these lineups in the bad projections and in SimLabs. Like, I really don't get as much of Woods Richardson as you think. You just don't get it because there's no money to spend stuff on. So that's the reason why I think his ownership will be lower than 40%. Because a lot of people obviously play with sims and optimizers and stuff like that. But I still think he'll come in at around 30. And it's just those lineup combinations I may have one that looks like that out of my 5, but I think I'm much more likely to, double barrel and then hope for the best with a slightly cheaper stack. And there are options on this slate.
We just got a Rangers lineup: Semien, Seager, Lau. Wait, is it Low or Lau? I think it's Low, right? No, that's Lau. Garcia, Carter, Smith, Langford, Duran, as well as Kisner. So the weaker Texas catcher. You see that a lot. Day game after the night. Day game after the night game. No Jonah Heim. I think we had Tavares projected as well. A couple guys a little bit different as far as the Rangers, but the main guys: Semien, Seager, Lau, Garcia, Carter. They're in there. Smith in the 6 hole as well. Ownership wise, and then we're going to be, this stuff's going to be changing. And I think it's really hard to do, but a lot of the ownership might reflect based upon or maybe I'm just surprised. Reagan's is only currently projected for 12% ownership. And I don't get that. I don't know why it's not higher. He's a reverse splits lefty facing a slew of righties for Toronto. 30% Ks, dating back to last season versus right-handers. The only reason why I wouldn't,
I have it under, so feel free to love them all you want. But I mean,
but it's like under 7.5, right? Under 6.5 or 7.5.
Under
what's the number?
Strikeouts. I don't bet the sides and the totals. I've been playing.
No. What's the number? It's not under 4.5 Ks. It's under like 6.5 Ks.
5.5 Ks. Under 5.5.
Under 5.5. Really interesting. Are you hoping for a delay at some point? I don't know if it's a delay thing or the game just never starts.
I'm hoping for the projections to be accurate, and I make a ton of bets, and then I make money. That's what I hope for.
What is he projected for? He's not projected around 5.5?
Dean, I have 46 bets in. If you ask me what I had, I may be able to name like 10% of them. So it's like, I typically have mostly under strikeout props. So I can, I remember inputting that last night at 1 a.m. That's all you're getting from me. There's no other reason. I look at the projections that we have here at RotoGrinders that I don't want anyone else to use.
I'm just trying to see what he's projected for. That like under 5.5 is a good bet. Is he projected for like 5 strikeouts?
I can take a look.
I don't have that up in front of me.
In the bat, he's 5.08.
Okay. What is our G?
The under 5.5 on DraftKings right now is plus 110. So that's a good price on that.
I was just going to say there must be some positive juice on the under. That had to be what pointed in that direction.
Right.
Yeah. Some of you catch that. Like you get like a plus 130, then all of a sudden it changes the conversation.
Right. It's number and price when you bet. It's not just the number.
Umpire data. Let's see. No extreme umpires today. We had Bill Miller in Coors yesterday. I failed to. They talked about it in chat, I believe, but we didn't really focus on the Bill Miller, known to be the most pitcher-friendly umpire, and of course, Coors flopped once again. Ownership-wise, I'm just surprised that Reagan's is coming in. His price went up on DK, which is kind of hilarious, right? He went up like $500 after absolutely getting pummeled, but he was already, I think, underpriced. I know a lot of us like him. Like Keith is a big fan. He's always talking about Reagan's. I know, Dave is always talking about him. I'm curious what Carty's take will be. Carty will be on in about, 35 minutes or so.
I can tell you what Carty's take. I have his projections. He's going to be on the. He's not going to play him. He's going to be on the. You're
gonna spoil it. That's what
I use. What am I supposed to do? I'm transparent with people. Like, what are your bets today? It's like, dude. But by the time Carty comes on and tells all the stuff, like he's ruined everything. Like he's another one. Why do we allow him on shows to ruin what might make me more money?
He's trying to make a living. What do you want from the guy? If he wouldn't be doing it, somebody else would be doing it.
No one thinks of me at all with any of these decisions.
Would you want to like personally DM you and just say, just don't tell anybody else this, and that's that, and that's that?
Take the day off every once in a while. That'll add about 0.2% to my ROI. If you just every once in a while.
Well, if you took the day off, you would have no bets.
But if Blender had it his way, he'd just have Carty in a hole and he'd just be giving him computers with a rope. Like, give me the projections, Carty.
Do you remember Jesse Pinkman and like in the cage, like in season? Well, I don't want to give any spoilers out, but that's where I can see Blender having Carty. But all right, I don't know why I went the Breaking Bad route, but give me did you have a summary as far as pitchers here, Blender? You're making your 5 lineups. Wheeler, are you embracing the Wheeler chalk? Cincinnati, tough ballpark, but certainly, he can strike out a fair bit there of the Reds. Yamamoto, I wish he went a little bit deeper as far as the lineups. Do we have a Washington lineup? We don't, right? Because that is a later game. And again, that's just on DK, not on FanDuel. Are we projecting Thomas to play, or did he hit the IL? Do you know about this or not? I'm asking you. He's not projected to play. Abrams, Winker, Meneses, Garcia, Gallo. You want Gallo in there for sure for some Ks. Adams, Rosario. Senzel you want there too. Senzel is terrible. And Lipscomb. All right. Silence the lambs, Alex making the reference. That's where you want Carty.
My pitching pool, I'm in my 5. Like I said, I'm playing 5 lineups. I'm transparent with that. My pitching pool is probably Wheeler, Yamamoto, Verlander, Heaney, and Woods Richardson. And I would need to make that Woods Richardson lineup differently. But everything else, can you take a shot on Luis Castillo?
I don't feel good about Heaney. I understand.
No, you shouldn't feel good about Heaney. You shouldn't feel good about any of this. I mean, have you watched the baseball games? You shouldn't have.
I watched a lot of baseball. Too much baseball.
Yesterday, I Taylor on. I mean, our whole thing is like, you never feel comfortable. You're probably going to lose anyway. Just take the best shot you can at this point.
Yeah. I just feel like there's a different way to go than Andrew Heaney, but
that's a good sign when you're building lineups for GPPs. And you feel that sick thing in your stomach is like, I don't know if I'm flushing $15 down the toilet. That's a good feeling in DFS.
Stevie in chat said you shouldn't feel good about Verlander.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anyone. Dean, I don't even feel good about you. I don't feel good about anyone. So it doesn't even matter.
I get it.
Verlander could get taken out after 70 pitches for just whatever reason.
Well, anybody. Well, then now you're just overthinking everything if you're going to throw it out there. But
but Verlander especially. I mean,
he threw like 75 pitches his first start. He'll get to like 80 or 85. That Cubs line's not good.
Pitched in relief in one game, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can play him in 3 days.
That was his throw. That was his throw day. That was his throw day. He would have been throwing anyway. They just threw him in the game. That's all that was going on there. Typically, he would just throw on the side instead of throwing on the side. He threw on the game.
Right. Andrew, to you, Dean, you think today is Andrew Heaney's throw the game day?
I know you don't like this, but I just don't think he's very good. And I understand doesn't matter. Like, he's still the most likely outcome. Every individual at bat, the hitter's going to get out. Like, there's greater than a 50% chance they're going to get out, no matter who the hitter is, essentially. Verlander, by the way,
strikeout prop, Dean. I mean, like.
What is the
perfect game? Your standards.
I bet the juice is on the under. I bet it's like negative 130 on the under.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's misleading. That's misleading when you say that.
Well, that's why I got the over. I actually I remember. I do have the over on Andrew Heaney. I have his over at like plus 125 at 5.5, and I also his over right now is the best price is minus 155 over 4.5 on DraftKings. But I mean, I do have that.
Waiting for a Seattle lineup. Haven't got that just yet. I think Big Dumper was dealing with
whoa. What did you call me, Dean? What was that?
Oh. Do you not know
dude? I mean, I was talking before about the C word, and you just bring out just all of a sudden. It's just like
the D word.
We have to have another internal meeting about your language.
He's lovingly referred to as the Big Dumper by his teammates because he's got a caboose. So I think he was dealing with was it an eye? He was dealing with something. He didn't play yesterday. Not sure if he's going to be back or not.
That's vague, Dean. He's dealing with an eye.
He had a body part. I don't. It might have been his butt. It might have been his dumper for all I know. I don't know what it was.
I was gonna say you can't say he calls himself the Big Dumper and then say he's dealing with something. That's way too open ended.
He had too much roughage. I don't know what's going on. He had some kind of minor injury, and maybe that's why we haven't seen a Seattle lineup just yet. We got a Toronto lineup, but they happen to play baseball. Here's the Toronto lineup: Springer, Guerrero, Bichette, Turner, Schneider, Clement, Varsho, Kirk, and Kiner Falefa, IKF. By the way, Blunder, we had like a tiers thing planned. I think we went long. I think we went too long for it. Maybe we should we could still talk stacks, obviously, but maybe we can shelve that. I'm not sure if we have time to get to it, basically.
Why? I mean, what else do we have to do?
All right, maybe we have time to get to it. We can talk. Oh yeah, Jeremy. There you go. Jeremy's. It was a tooth. I knew he had something. I knew it was some kind of body. He's got like 28 teeth, give or take. How many do you have in the mouth? I don't know. 34. How many teeth does a human have? But one of those teeth was troublesome. It was bothering him, so he was not playing baseball yesterday. Maybe they can shoot him up with some Novocaine. Who knows? But that's why we do not have. That's why I didn't play baseball yesterday. It was nothing. It was nothing big dumper related. It's just his tooth. He had an ouchie in his mouth. All right. So your official approach when it comes to the pitchers, you're embracing Wheeler, and you're just going to be a little bit different when it comes to you're not taking the 4K chalk is what we're saying.
I'll probably have one lineup. Just I can't. I shouldn't be playing like I don't want to play a chalky like bets one-off. Like, I don't want to play the expensive one-off. If the expensive one-off, like Julio Rodriguez is a one-off, maybe, because I don't think less people are playing the Mariners stacks. But I don't want to be stuck with the, I mean, if I look at ownership here, just like in the bat, like Tatis as a one-off, or Ohtani as a one-off, or Bogarts at second as a one-off. Like, I just don't want to be stuck in those spots where my lineup construction looks similar. Like, I'd much rather get at least different in my – fine, I'll play a Dodgers stack, but then my one-offs will be 3%. I'll play I mean, I don't even know who else is on the slate. I mean, you play a White
Why not
Sox.
play Castillo instead of Heaney? Like, that's what I don't
He's more
understand.
expensive. What? Did you get extra salary, Dean? Is there?
He's not that expensive. He's only 8'6". It's not that.
Sorry that you're privileged enough to live in a time where –
I know a guy.
You're higher class than me. Maybe, I'm scrapping, I'm rubbing nickels together. You're like, why take Andrew Heaney when you could just overspend for Luis Castillo? Like, what does it matter?
It's not an overspend. 8'6" is not an overspend. That's market price. That's very fair.
It's
That's
inflation.
very fair for
That's the reason. I think they need to do something.
No, that is not inflation. That's an old school price. Like we used to pay like 12 or 13K for.
He used to strike out 9 guys a game. That's why we did. He doesn't do that anymore.
He does it again. Come on. He had a little hiccup.
I have Luis Castillo's under 17.5 outs. So,
well, he's going to strike out 16 hitters and then go 16 outs. There you go. That's not good enough for you?
For that bet, that's fine. I don't mind that.
But I'm saying it works out for DFS and it works out for your bet as well. You have any Yamamoto takes against Washington?
Takes? I mean,
well, what are you seeing in the betting market, I guess, or the bet?
I don't have much. Yeah, I don't really have much. I mean, his price is pretty efficient. His line's at 6.5 strikeouts. The bat hasn't projected at 6.29. The under on 6.5 is -125. It's efficient now. I think I ended up taking his over at a different price last night, but I mean, to me, the clear thing is that Wheeler and Yamamoto are the two. I don't want to call them the safest pitchers, but the floor ceiling combination between those both. Like, if I can build a lineup with both of them, like, why? That's what I'm going to do, and let everyone else go and try to play Simeon Woods Richardson as if he's like Cy Young or something.
Couple of great comments in the chat. Asking for Jordan's take is a good bit. Yeah. I was like, "Who's Jordan?" Like, "Oh yeah, you're Jordan. I forgot you're Jordan. Nobody calls you Jordan."
Most people call me Jordan. Actually, most
not in this world. Nobody calls you Jordan in this world.
I mean,
in your own, in home, I imagine. I don't know what you're. But
yeah, I don't think my wife calls me Blender. I don't think so.
Shannon says Blender should make a self-help career. He's very positive, like Tony Robbins, which I thought was hilarious. Are you as tall as Tony Robbins? He's like 9'7". Are you 9'7"?
No, I'm a little shorter than that.
Yeah. All right. So do we want to play the stat game? Let's play the stat game. Before we get to it, let's have the chat play along. Give us your favorite. This is Blender's category. Blender came up with this on the fly pre-show. Tell me your favorite and least favorite 90s sitcom. Favorite and least favorite 90s sitcom. You can make fun of Blender in a second. We do our tiers. We're going to do our rankings as far as stacks. We're going to bring in producer Devin as well. Producer Devin, when you have a chance, by all means, feel free to throw it up on the screen. There's some drama being built, but do you want to take a minute and just take us through why these are your rankings? Of course, the show all the way up. Of course, it is you're so predictable. The most highfalutin, condescending sitcom of the '90s phrase. But go ahead, Blender, take it away. Tell us why these are.
Well,
what
I mean,
are.
I also none of these shows are bad, right? There were.
Well, you didn't do the rules right. I explained to you. I said I said number 5's got to be the worst sitcom ever.
I don't know. I don't have time to research that. You know how many bad 90s sitcoms there are? So
exactly. You have 100 things to choose from.
I disagree. Everybody Loves Raymond is on this list. You did pick a terrible show. So
right.
We're in
I did pick a terrible. Right. But I'm talking about popular. The whole point was I needed to pick popular. There are plenty of bad sitcoms that no one remembers.
No, that's not the whole point. I explained the game to you. You didn't listen. You don't follow directions.
I changed the rules. Who cares? What does it matter? Right.
You understand how tiers work. So we're going to throw the A's or whatever, the White Sox in the bottom tier. And
yes, because Everybody Loves Raymond is the most overrated sitcom of all time. That's the reason why we're doing it.
You just said it stinks.
We're not putting the socks there, by the way.
It stinks.
No, we're not putting the socks there. Don't put the socks there. The socks are better than
No, I think if we're looking at the bat,
the socks are not better up here. We're going to get some weird answers from Blender because everything's going to be based upon leverage and optionality and all his fancy words. But
before we jump in, we just have to address Shannon's got the best comment so far. What is news radio?
It's Joe Rogan. You guys know Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan.
It's Phil Hartman more than Joe Rogan.
I was going to use Dean's favorite phrase. That's before my time, I think.
I didn't really watch it, but I remember it was just it took place in what a radio station is, right, Blender?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was the base.
Sentiment, by the way, also. That's why it's 4th on the list. Friends is the 2nd most overrated sitcom.
Then why didn't you make the category most overrated sitcoms? That would have been a much better list.
What does it say? It doesn't say anything. It just lists whatever. And Seinfeld was exempt
but because you're the one that gets to say what it says. You could have made it whatever you wanted.
And I did, Dean. I made it. There you go.
And you just made it confusing.
Kevin's in chat.
I'm just confused. You don't follow directions. But all right, so yeah, I'm not a Friends guy either. But whatever, if you like it, by all means, enjoy it. But yeah, I wouldn't have put it. But you see, you besmirch. You're saying Friends is better than Everybody Loves Raymond, but worse than News Radio. You're saying it's a little bit less than mid. You're saying News Radio is mid. 3 is mid. You understand that?
Yes, and it is mid. News Radio.
You just said it's underrated. Okay, I'm confused. You're hearing the same conversation I am, right, Devin?
I don't know, Dean. I think you might be getting a little technical here.
Yes, you're getting way too technical here. Dude, I could look up. There are sitcoms that I don't even remember that are obviously worse than Everybody Loves Raymond, but we can't have a list where I just put something on 5th that no one has any clue what it is because it was on for 3 episodes.
You could have put Arliss.
Arliss wasn't that bad.
All right, where are we putting the White Sox?
We're putting News Radio. We got to put White Sox in the News Radio.
They're in the middle. You can't take a stand on the White Sox?
No, because it's the vomit stack. Do you really feel News Radio? Okay, is like you could put on an episode of News Radio and it'd be I could be entertained.
Nobody's done this before. Nobody can relate to your setup. But go ahead.
Right. Certain episodes are good. If it's too much Joe Rogan and not enough Phil Hartman, right? The episode isn't written very well. So the White Sox are that team that it's on the free tier of Amazon Prime. So it's you get all the seasons, but it's not a popular enough show where that you have to pay for the DVDs. And that's kind of what the White Sox are today. It's that's the bargain.
What year is this conversation taking place?
All right, let me translate this to actually human language.
What is he saying?
What he's saying is that the White Sox are not going to be popular. So put them in the middle because you can just get a little over the field and be over the field on what the ownership is.
By the way,
right, but they're a bad team.
They're a bad team.
The only reason they're ranked 3rd is because they're low owned and cheap.
You don't want to have 30% of them,
right? Rocket Sauce is off by 20, 30 years. Wasn't Gilligan's Island the 60s or the 70s? I assume, but we're just being. It's got to be a joke.
Distracting, Dean.
Charles in charge. It says Charles in charge, but the in is capitalized. Not Charles, not charge, but the in. Charles in charge. Big Scott Baio fan in chat. Yeah. Where's Seinfeld? Yeah, where is Seinfeld? That's a good question.
Seinfeld's exempt. Seinfeld's on the God tier. Seinfeld is above everyone. So
that's why it should be 1.
No, because I can't put Frasier 2, because Frasier's the best written sitcom of all time.
This is honestly, you would be the worst critic.
You had your pinky
rules
out when you were saying that for sure.
Cheers is an 80s sitcom, by the way. I see that in chat. That's an 80s sitcom.
Cheers isn't 80s. Martin, where's Martin? No Martin
Technicalities,
representation.
rubbing off on Blender here.
No Fresh Prince. No Saved by the Bell. It's a lot of Home Improvement. All right. Let's get back to the teams. Who are you putting in the Frazier tier? Let's just do that. We can go that way.
Frazier tier today. Unfortunately, if I run Sims,
oh boy.
Unfortunately, I'm saying this unfortunately only because
so you're gonna put the terrible teams up there.
If I'm going to run SimLabs right now with 150 lineups and 5-man stacks, and it's not going to make me feel good because I don't think much has changed. It's 11:48. Okay, we got an
That's
update.
my guess.
Let's see, small field, medium. Let's just run 150. I last time I did this, I was getting so many twins. It was like it was ridiculous.
I like the Twins. The Twins are good. I was a little bit afraid they'd be popular.
Running,
but no
it's
Buxton,
running,
by the
it's
way.
running.
Kind of a bummer.
It's running teams. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna, especially now that Buxton's not in the lineup. I mean, now the stack is even cheaper.
But they're really cheap.
Yeah, I don't know what the ownership is going to be now because if you play like with optimizers, this is going to be the team that's like jammed in. If you play a Yamamoto Wheeler lineup, so just be careful. Like, don't play Wheeler, Yamamoto, 5 twins, and then Tatis and Devers or like the popular expensive one-offs. But I would have to put the Twins have the third highest team total on the slate. I mean, yeah, they got.
Why wouldn't Soroka? I was talking about McKenzie having a higher walk rate than K rate. He's not alone on this slate, and it's kind of small sample stuff, but 24 innings, right, for Soroka this year. One-time prospect for Atlanta. It's not happening. He's got a K rate at 10.7% and a walk rate at 13.4%. That is bad. It's very bad, and it's hard to survive in this league. He's got a 7.5 ERA, and his Sierra is almost 6. Yeah, again, no Buxton there, so that Minnesota lineup weakened to some degree. By the way, Stevie is going to be on. He's going to be joining Crunch Time in about 15 minutes or so. Just said Frazier is a terrible show. Shots fired. Shots fired at Stevie. And now, Blender, you are judging Stevie. You're like, oh, my God. I can't believe.
Yes, I am. Truthfully, I am. I didn't take a step down. I'm like that's a bad show. What the hell do you watch?
He's watching the Real Housewives or something. He's watching Andy Cohen over there on Bravo.
I'm looking at show. I have this whole thing of all these 80s sitcoms. I can't even find something that's like.
Why are you on the 80s? We're doing 90s.
Right. I mean, was he the Nanny fan? That's a horrible show. I mean, like,
yeah. The Laugh. I couldn't get past The Laugh.
God,
I couldn't do it.
The things that were stuck on TV when I was sick at home as a kid.
Married with Children. No respect for Married with Children.
That's in the 80s. That came out in the 80s.
Yeah, but it bled in the 90s. It was on in the 90s too. It was on both.
McAllen, I thought it's my rules, Dean. It's my rules.
Well, it feels like you're making them on the fly. If I
well, that's why else? Of course, that's what I'm doing. I'm obviously biased.
They're asking about the weather. I just went ahead and drop it in chat for the people. Yeah, still orange in Kansas City. We'll have Roth coming on about 15 minutes or so. He'll clarify, see if anything new. But really, really, really like Reagan's. Yeah, Devin's throwing up on the screen as well. We'll see. Stay tuned. But I would love to play Cole Reagans today. Maybe that's going to push his ownership down. But I was really surprised to see it's only going to be like 15% if everything was good, which is surprising to me. But maybe I'm on I don't want to say an island, but I don't understand why people wouldn't go back to him. Let's knock out these stacks. You got Minnesota 1. Who else is alongside Minnesota, Blender, in that top tier? Now, nobody's in the Seinfeld tier that you can't see. It's off screen.
Right.
It's right above Frazier.
No one can be in that tier. There's no one. Withdraw from your entries. You can't play that tier. I would put the Mariners from a combination of ceiling and ownership against Andrew Heaney. But I just want to be clear that, the Mariners. What are we
definitely just screwing around here?
Oh,
is that
Mariners.
What's going on? I thought you were having fun, like throwing the Marlins in.
The other M. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, a combination of ceiling and owners, because I don't think Seattle is going to be anywhere close to his own.
So some would say, Blender, some would say, well, wait a second. You love Andrew Heaney and you love the Mariners. You sound like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're a big old hypocrite.
I am. It's a bimodal outcome. I explained that before, Dean.
Well, let me just call you out.
I think there's the distribution of outcomes for Andrew Heaney tends to be he pitches really bad or really well. So I want to play him when he's low owned, but I don't mind playing the Mariners because if he sucks, he could give up 12 runs. So yeah, so one of the two happens. I'll make a lineup.
So if you're making 5 lineups, you'll have 1 Heaney and 1 Mariner stack, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think a lot of times, specifically for me in baseball, whenever I see a stack I like, there's almost always merit to having some exposure to the pitcher on the other side as well. It's just when there's a good situation for volatility, it can go either way, and you want to be exposed to both outcomes, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just don't like when people say, well, like 1 or 2 things are going to happen. And like the most likely scenario is all the wiggle room in the middle, which is like not sexy. And like, you don't necessarily need the pitcher. You don't really need the offense, but
right. We're aiming for ceiling results. So you can't be looking at just like averages.
We got to pick up the pace here, Blender. We got a bunch of teams.
No,
we got crunch time.
Easily. Let's go.
Okay.
Put the Padres in the third rock from the sun. I mean, they're clearly the top team total. They're in cores, right? But obviously they get dinged because of ownership. So that's there. And then you can put
Big John Lithgow guy?
I think that show is amazing. Amazing.
Does it hold up? I haven't seen it in 20 years.
Yes, it completely holds up. Totally holds up.
Really? Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Lithgow is still like the guy from Dexter.
Whatever, Kirsten Johnston, Jane Curtin.
You know what I saw in the past few years, a throwback show I went back and watched, Sister. Hilarious.
Tia and Tamara.
Yeah, it's so good.
Where did you find this?
I don't remember. It was on some streaming service.
Well, Blender,
is Stevie watching Sister while Frasier's on? What's going on?
Maybe. I didn't mean to derail you, Blender. You're on a roll. You put one team.
Okay, so let's keep on going. I would probably put the Phillies and the Astros on the third rock from the sun tier. So these are teams that have high ceilings and much lower ownership than the Padres, but they're not projected as well as the Padres. Then in the middle, I would put I forgot what the news radio tier, put the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are going to be over-owned today, but obviously
they might be.
Yeah, I think so, because people are going to put in Woods Richardson and be able to pay for everything. So yeah, so I expect the Dodgers to be higher owned than the Phillies, higher owned than the Astros, and about as owned as the Padres. So they get a ding down. So like the most expensive team and the cheapest team on the slate, both they're in that news radio DVD bit.
Just want to say that Mackenzie Gore kind of like neutral reverse splitsy. So you shouldn't be afraid of rostering Ohtani or Freeman anyway. Also, pretty decent chance Will Smith sits today. This is a later game. It's 4:05. He played the night game. I think he had 6 at bats yesterday. Actually, might have been a day game, like 6:35 or something like that. But typically they'll get a day after the day game off, the catchers. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sits. And one last, as always, standard warning with the Dodgers when they face a lefty. Enrique Hernandez, very, very high risk of pinch hit when the righty comes in, when Gore comes out. That Nationals bullpen is fully loaded with righties. Pajas probably sticks around. Like him a good bit. He's my favorite amongst the cheapies, but I'm not saying you can't roster Hernandez, but just be aware there's a pretty good chance. And also Rojas, the situation calls for it. He would get the hook as well. Muncy might not start. Lux probably doesn't start, but all right, go ahead, Blender.
I just want to call out Narniac 69 for the better takes. Golden Girls is a god tier sitcom from the 80s.
It was spectacular. I missed a lot of the jokes watching it as a kid because I know there's a lot of adult humor in there. But like if you watch it later, it's like, yeah, I'm surprised my parents let me watch that. But yeah. Were you a Rose guy? If you want to power rank the Golden Girls, Blanche, Sophia, Dorothy.
That'll be next show. We're gonna do the power ranks based on the Golden Girls, and we're gonna need to.
Rose is in the god tier with Seinfeld, right?
Right. I mean, we're gonna, and then the neighbor next door is.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's 5 of them, right?
No, we have to combine the Golden Girls and Empty Nest together because that was the spin-off show, and then have that be ranked.
I watched that as well. Yeah. All right, but we're losing the audience, by the way. Alex is Blanche's goat, by the way, which is. Yeah. Did you know Sophia was actually the youngest one in the cast? People are aware of this at this point, right? Makeup. But continue. Go ahead, Blunder.
I would put the Rockies in the news radio tier also. I think they're going to be a little bit more underowned, although they have a very high team total. To me personally, I'd rather play. If you give me a choice at the same ownership, I'd rather play the Dodgers. But I suspect that more people don't like clicking on the Rockies, and they're facing Vasquez, and I don't think he's very good. So
No.
I'm willing to take a shot because the prices here, the lineup just came out. Tovar, Doyle, McMahon, Diaz, Montero, Rogers, Cave, Goodman, Stallings. Like,
We
are
got the
people
bad
really going to
catcher,
pay for McMahon and
Jacob
Tovar and
Stallings.
Diaz and these guys? I don't think so as much.
They're terrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jake
I
Cave is
know, but we're
awful.
trying to win money.
Stallings
we're
is
trying to win
worse.
GPPs.
Yeah. Randy Vasquez is nothing to be afraid of. By the way, they listen to me. Blackman gets the day off. Tovar leading off. Yeah. And McMahon's a good hitter. Okay. Yeah, but sure, you can play the Rockies. Continue.
I'll put the Red Sox in the friends tier because whenever I play the Red Sox, they're not friends to me because they don't rate out as well. I mean, I don't mind attacking Tristan McKenzie because he'll walk a bunch of people, but he's not that bad of a pitcher. I don't think.
Have you heard about his ligaments?
Ownership is going to necessarily be there, but I don't necessarily think the Red Sox are as worth playing. They're fine. They're there. I could always put on an episode of Friends and be like, okay, this is tolerable, but it's not something I'll start a podcast reviewing the episodes of.
Don Yeezy says, where is Murder, She Wrote? Well, that's from the 80s, and also it's not a comedy, but otherwise, I believe it's Don Yeezy's birthday. Did I hear that yesterday somewhere? If it is, happy birthday, Don Yeezy.
Hey, yeah, if so, happy birthday. Friend of the show.
Continue, Blunder.
Unfortunately, I'll put the Blue Jays in the friends tier as well. At some point, they're going to do well at 4K prices, but I'll continue to sink money into the Blue Jays and complain in the Discord about it.
Yeah, well, against Cole Reagans, I'm going to have 0 Blue Jays, whether it's a rain out or not. I'm on the Reagan side. I only make a couple lineups, so like you make a couple as well, but I'm not getting there as far as Toronto. Who are we missing? We haven't talked at all about the Houston. You got Houston. What are the Cubs?
I got Houston. I think Cleveland deserves a friends. It's in that friends tier of like,
ooh,
like he's there against Chase Anderson. Team total isn't that high. I mean, like, I don't know how many people are playing Jose Ramirez today. This is the type of team. Like the thing about the Guardians is that like they'll score 8 runs and like no one has more than like 15 fantasy points, and I just wonder like how the hell did that happen? So. That's the problem I typically have with
they
the
nickel and dime you.
Time of the year where the home runs are down, it might be a good thing to get a bunch of singles and doubles.
No, it means the home runs are at a premium, so you want to try to target them as much as possible.
But they're hard to find.
You can flip it either way, Devin. Is the guy hot? Is he due? It's the same exact logic.
Hang on, I've got something just for this.
Play wherever you want.
Who else is not on the board that we should mention? Who else?
I would put Cincinnati down at the bottom. Put everybody loves Cincinnati. Yeah, there you go. Put it in the Raymond tier.
What did Ray Romano do to you? Why do you hate Ray Romano?
Ray Romano as a stand-up is actually pretty good. The show sucks.
I didn't watch the show.
The show.
Devin?
I don't want to say that the show sucks, Dean. It's that everybody loves Raymond is as good as like 100 other sitcoms that are written exactly the same way.
So it's overrated.
It just so happened that old people on CBS never changed the remote after 60 minutes or whatever the hell they were watching, and then the show just got rated. I think.
What is the average viewer's age on Blue Bloods? The average Blue Bloods viewer age over under like 68.
Right. If you're a CBS sitcom, if you're NCIS, I mean, like your demographics are like people that are 5 years away from the coffin. I mean, like, come on.
Hey, I used to watch NCIS way before I should.
Really?
Yeah. When I was in like elementary school, I was watching NCIS with my family.
Were you a CS guy as well?
I was. Yeah. I had a little bit of Miami, a little bit of the original.
We got to spin the wheel as well, Devin. I know you've been compiling that. What else do we have as far as stacks? Who are we missing? Anybody we got to point out? Because we have, let's say, I went to UCF, so my math is a little bit tricky. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams on the board. So some teams are missing. It just you don't want to. Some are not even board worthy.
Yeah, Nationals on the bottom tier, right? Because I'm more likely playing Yamamoto and Wheeler. I don't see a need to play to stack the Nat. Can you play one-offs of these teams? Sure, but we're talking the tiers when it comes to stacking 5 batters from a team. Then I would probably put the Rangers against Castillo. I'd probably put in the friends tier. It's there. It's expensive. I'm not a big fan of attacking Castillo, but you're not going to get much ownership on the Rangers. Probably put the Royals kind of in that spot, that friend spot also.
Cubs. We need the Cubs.
The Cubs.
Not the best Cubs lineup. They're without
the Cubs
Bellinger, they're out Morel.
Throw everything else in the friends tier. Throw everything else in the, it's like, okay, like it's there. You could, why are you rewatching Friends from the beginning? Like, there's no reason. Like this, like if you want to watch,
You
if
watched
it's
it all the way through. I bet you did. I bet you watched it all the way through.
No, if it's on TV and it's before a program that you were going to watch anyway or something, it's like an episode 5 of season 4 or something, and it just happens to be on. It's
but
like,
that's not the thing anymore. There's not. Now I just got to jump. I know what I want to watch. I go to Netflix. I go to Amazon. I go to the game. I have a channel.
So you have absolutely no reason to watch Friends, and neither should anyone else. You have no reason.
Thank God my wife's at work today. She would be hating these takes.
She's a big Friends stan, huh?
Big Friends stan. I have to put up my dukes every time that's suggested as a show.
Dean, I hate Friends so much. Dean, I hate Friends so much, and I hate the people that watch Friends, that like Friends. That I'm going to tell.
Why does it bother you?
I'm going to tell everyone. You can't, Devin. You can't stop me. Ross and Rachel get together at the end.
What?
Now I ruined it.
Oh,
you don't have to watch the show anymore.
But they were on a break last I checked in.
My only qualm with the stacks is I think Cleveland should be higher. That's my
Have
only.
You been to Cleveland, Devin? It should. I know. I wouldn't mind that. I think Cleveland. I think Cleveland's fine. I mean, if you wanted to put them in the news radio tier, I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah, Chase Anderson, it's kind of sort of somewhat of a ball-playing game. I think he's projected like 75 pitches or so or something like that. He's just barely getting by on veteran savvy and guile and whatever adjectives you want to use. 36 years old at this point. Just don't, the lack of power for Cleveland, and the ballpark's not great for homers today. Weather Edge wasn't loving it. It's pretty cold. The wind's blowing in. But Devin, I know crunch time's coming in shortly, and we got to give away a week free of premium. Did we get enough likes? Did we get enough thumbs?
That's a good question. Hang on, let me finish getting the names. We had a lot of people jump in last.
Stevie probably disliked this video 8 million times. It's probably nothing.
They're asking about Milwaukee. We don't know about Milwaukee. We have not discussed that. That's not on the slate.
Milwaukee's not on the slate.
Milwaukee's Peralta's probably going to pitch good. I don't know. Peralta versus Keller. I have no takes though. But Freddie Peralta is one of the best pitchers in all baseball. What do we got here, Devin?
One more name, and then we'll call it there. All right. A lot of last-minute people jumping in here.
Why do they have to wait to the last second to make your job difficult?
They just love to do it, Dean. All right. Should we put some music on? How about that? What looks like
we should put an episode of Friends on while we do this.
We were on a break. First winner. Let's see.
I got the blue, yellow Quinella. Blue.
You and that Quinella, Dean.
Random
Octopus. Congratulations. We have our first winner. It's a little distracting because this page, you guys can't hear it. When that confetti comes out, it plays applause in my ears, but it doesn't play. So I have to inject my own applause. We'll go ahead and do another winner. Let's go ahead. We're having fun today.
I heard applause.
Yeah, I turned on some applause.
Oh, I see. I got you.
And Tony says, all right, I will reach out to you two in Discord.
Well, we can't give him anything until I know what he says. What does he say?
We'll have to find out next time on
a cliffhanger. Damn
it. He says, give me RG Premium. Devin's going to be hooking you up. He'll be sliding into the Discord, get you a week free of RG Premium. We typically do the wheel on Wednesdays. We might be doing this on Thursdays going forward, maybe something else. We're giving away something basically every single day, essentially every single day. Movie Monday, Tournament Tuesday, Wheel Wednesday. This is Thursday. Thankful Thursday.
Real
Friday,
quick,
I don't.
Freebie Friday, which, by the way, teaser for everybody. We're doing the Cheese's $1 Million Musings for free tomorrow. So,
nice.
The best MLB article in DFS for free tomorrow.
Why are we giving away so much
and
stuff?
Blender is having a meltdown.
And Blender's taking the day off on Friday. He's out.
Real quick, before we jump into crunch time, we're still waiting on one host. It's rarely this happens. I'm a power user of Lineup HQ, and I discovered something new today.
What'd you say?
If you have this lineup preview on the side here, and you click a position, it will sort that position in the player pool. So if I want to look at pitchers, just click that P. Look at that. It's only pitchers.
Oh my God. I didn't even know this.
Same here.
Yeah.
Blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah. Thought I'd share
So
that.
Devin, I always close that out. I always close that out to extend my so I can scroll more. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I never even think to keep that around. I guess some people build lineups that way. I don't. But interesting. All right. Maybe I'll that is useful though. By the way, you said one person's not here. I'm getting in the DK Sportsbook has Derek Carty at minus 10,000.
Well, Dean, if you want to queue him up, we'll go ahead and see who it was.
Or maybe is Roth just getting in the door, coming back from Paris? Maybe he's literally just landed a few minutes ago. Let's see. We got Stevie. It's definitely not Stevie because Stevie's been hanging out in the chat and giving us awesome takes when it comes to sitcoms. We also have Kevin Roth back from we'll bring him on. We've got Roth, we got Carty. It's crunch time. It is Kevin Roth. Welcome back. Never leave us again. Good news, bad news. Love seeing Roth. He brought bad weather with us. I want to play Cole Reagan's. It's orange in Kansas City. By the way, Roth, before you left, welcome back. Before you said like you're going to be off the grid. I think that's how you phrased it. And I thought, off the grid, are you going to go like to the desert and take ayahuasca for a week or something like that? But then like you popped up in Paris. That's not off the grid. Like Paris, we know where Paris is. That's on the grid.
No, that's off the grid of the internet because I'm not going to be working. I'm not going to be looking at Twitter. I'm off the grid, even though I'm on the grid. But I'm off the grid.
They'll never find me. It's Paris.
Nobody will look in Paris.
Selfies with the Eiffel Tower behind me. They'll never get me here.
What did you say to those guys? You dunked on those guys. You schooled them. Let me get some pictures of you. Your picture on Twitter. You said, let me get some pictures. I want to tell everybody on Twitter how bad I schooled you. Smile now.
Well, those guys were the Americans. So there were some random Americans playing pickup ball, and there were a bunch of Parisians, and it ended up being 4-on-4 America versus Paris, and it was intense. It was like some pre-Olympic shit going down. It was a really good pickup, and we beat them in the end. It was an awesome game.
Besides that, was that the highlight of your trip? Was there something else that's worth noting?
No, that's it. That was legitimately the highlight of my trip was playing pickup ball under the Eiffel Tower.
Alex in chat with the comment of the day says Roth was on a break. A brilliant callback to the Friends conversation. Myself and Blender, we're going to see ourselves out in a minute. But Stevie, do you want to defend Blender? Blender's got a bone to pick with you, basically. You guys can go at it. But Blender, you were upset by some of Stevie's comments in chat. You guys are not TV compatible, apparently.
Well, Blender's like 30 years older than me. So, I mean, that probably is why we don't like the same TV shows.
So what was this most egregious take?
What sitcoms do you like, even if they're not 90s?
Best and worst.
Best, like of all time?
An opinion.
Modern Family. You love.
Any decade.
Right.
Any decade? I don't know. I mean, Friends would be up there on my list. I like Friends a lot. But, I mean, I like weird shit. So, my shows are going to be a lot different than what you like. Like, I like weird stuff that I can watch like when I'm working. So like I watch The Ranch all the time on Netflix because it's funny. But I don't know if I'd call that as like a top sitcom of all time.
That's Ashton Kutcher, Blender, if you're not aware.
Yeah.
But like even you didn't even put the 70s show in the 90s like tier. And that show is way better than News Radio.
I would at least I would agree with that. The 70s shows would be in that tier, that news.
But
radio.
like you didn't have you like weird stuff too, but you didn't even have like The Simpsons. Like The Simpsons is a fantastic sitcom.
That's egregious. I'm on that train.
Stevie's getting points here.
I had to pick 5, and they had to be at different tiers. Like another show that I could have put there in the second tier is the Larry Sanders Show. But like, how many people know the Larry Sanders
people?
Show?
I was gonna say, yeah. I don't even know what that is. Like again, going back to you're like 50 years older.
He doesn't know Gary Shandling.
No chance.
Before his time.
Yeah.
Blender is so angry.
If you like 30 Rock, Larry Sanders Show is like the.
I don't like 30 Rock.
How do you not like 30 Rock?
30 Rock's good.
Just saying.
Carty or Roth, you got anything before you step aside and get out of here? You want to chime in or you want to talk some baseball?
Baseball.
They're both busy working.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like,
I want to hear
tweeting.
Yeah, I want to hear what Roth has to say about Kansas City. Hopefully it's good news. Myself and Blender, we do appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Roth, welcome back. Carty, Stevie, have at it. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, and appreciate that. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. I got a cold. You get sick. You travel with kids. I'm sick. It's inevitable. But I am here and joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. My guy, Stevie, in the house. What up, Stevie?
What up? I already messed with Carty on like Tuesday about this show, so like I can't wait.
Oh boy, we got Carty in the house. What's happening, Carty?
Not much. Been dreading this since Tuesday.
What exactly happened here? Is there going to be? Was there a bet that worked in? Like what went down?
I just know how to push the buttons of Carty, just like I know how to push like the buttons of Dean and the buttons of Blender. Kevin, I've been around RG. I've been working here for over 10 years. So like I know how to push your buttons. I mean, just pull up some videos of you like dancing on stage. Like it's just I'm that like coworker. It's just like no one wants to hang out with.
Little I'll make love to you. Yeah, I regret that karaoke, but the video lives forever, sadly. All right. Well,
that wasn't even the one I was talking about. So
that's even scarier.
Yeah. I mean,
the last RG, by the way, Carty and I were Carty kept doing shots with me. It was horrible. And my wife was like, I think y'all should get out of here. And I was like, why are you trying to bring us down? We're dancing. You and Carty are the only people dancing. You're the only two people here looking like idiots. Anywho, all right, we got to talk about this slate. We got to talk about weather because the Kansas City game. It's interesting. I guess pitcher is what we want here. Is that
a little bit? I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily like we have to have these two guys, but I mean, they're two of the better potential arms on the slate. Barrios is okay. Reagan's is boom bust for tournaments. So, I mean, I think if anything, we definitely want pitchers over hitters in this spot.
Okay, that's good to know. I guess my concern, two concerns. One, are they going to try to play at all? I kind of thought they were going to postpone it, an hour ago or so. The next thing that I'm worried about, other than them even trying to play, is if they play, I don't think they're getting a full game in. But could they get 2/3 of a game in? And so then all of a sudden pitchers work all right? That's possible. That's really not out of the question. My question is, do we have to figure out pitcher by the first set of games, or can we punt it?
I mean, the game is an hour after. There are a couple pivots potentially on DraftKings. On FanDuel, we lose like one of the best pitchers on FanDuel with no Yamamoto on FanDuel. So like that's where Reagan's becomes more in play on FanDuel just because of his price. I'm sure Carty has a take as well, but I mean they're like second tier type pitchers today, more for tournaments than like cash games.
Yeah.
Okay, Carty, you're in agreement here. It's more of a tournament play?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, then that makes me feel better about it. I don't know if they're even going to try to play. If they do, it's just a race against the clock from the moment they start playing. And I am starting to think maybe they can play on time. My earlier write-up, and I need to update it, says I don't think they're playing on time. They might have an hour or two before the rain moves in. Is that enough time to get you the Ks you need? 2 hours? Probably. If it's only 1 hour, then you're screwed. And so it is not a safe cash play. I do not recommend anyone from that game in cash. And first, we'll see if they even try to play. That we could get a postponement announcement during the show. Not out of the question. That is the only legitimate concern. There's a low chance of a delay in Colorado. I'm going to keep Kansas City updated, and I'll know more before that game, before first pitch, but after lock. So I hope that there's some flexibility we can build in there because, 30 minutes before the game, I'll know a lot more than I do right now. That's all I've got. With that, I think we kind of throw the weather thing aside and we dive into the slate itself. We'll start with Carty. What do you got for me, man? What's happening pitcher-wise?
Yeah, so pitcher-wise, there's like a clear top two.
Well, that's a tough start.
Damn. What sucks is that he was just getting into it too. You know, he's like, there is a clear top 2, no doubt about it. It's
he just shifted it into second gear and then it just stopped. Yeah,
we were just getting the T's going. We were revving the engines, and then he's out.
Tough scene.
Stevie, do you know the clear top 2? Do you have a clear top 2?
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear top 2.
I absolutely got. I was like, wait. Man.
Yeah, anyway, I like Zach Wheeler and Yamamoto. I'm pretty sure that's who Carty was going to have, kind of looking at the bat, too. Those are the 2 guys that he had projected pretty well. So Wheeler and Yamamoto just kind of in a class of their own. Again, like on FanDuel, we don't get Yamamoto on FanDuel. They don't have the Dodgers and Washington game. So, you know, that's obviously a huge miss there. But on DraftKings, I think it's those 2 guys. We have some cheap bats. So, like, I think in cash games, too, like, you're just kind of building around Wheeler and Yamamoto. And then, I mean, after that, that's where, like, Reagans and Barrios in that game that we're kind of watching the weather become interesting because, like, they are kind of in that, like, second tier of Barrios, Castillo, Reagans. And like if we take those 2 pitchers off the slate, like pitching becomes really condensed for me on this slate if we're taking those 2 guys off.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued because as I look at our rankings here, we've got one pitcher who almost has the full rainbow, and he's 4K, and I want that. I want to do that in tournaments. Who's this dude?
Yeah, so young pitcher, I think he's like 23, 24. Average at best strikeout pitcher. Like he's not a huge strikeout guy. The reason we're playing him today is because he's 4K and he's facing the worst offense in baseball. So that's the reason. I mean, there's no other reason. It's not like he's like this end all, like lights out type pitcher. He pitched well in his first start this season. He threw 6 innings, but like even his advanced stats were like, dude's not great. You know, like he's an average guy. But I mean,
in a good spot,
you know, yeah,
for literally the minimum.
Roth, you would throw me against the White Sox at minimum salary.
For 4K, I would.
Yeah,
I would.
But he's cheap on FanDuel. I think he makes a lot more sense on DraftKings today because I don't know if he's going to like go out there and rack up the strikeouts or even get a quality start on FanDuel today. Mm-hmm. But he's in a good spot outside of the White Sox too, because I mean the Minnesota bats are in a great spot today, so it's really hard not to have a lot of interest in the bats here. So, I mean, pitching with a lead at 4K, I mean, I think he'd get us 5 innings and a win. So it's hard for me not to have interest in him at 4K. But again, like I want to keep pointing out, like this dude's an average guy. Like he's an average pitcher. He's not a top prospect. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and strike out 8 guys. So like there is risk. It's just the White Sox stink. They're so incredibly bad that it's hard not to like any pitcher at 4K against them.
And then I'm looking at some of these other plays. Yeah, Wheeler, Yamamoto, and then this dude. I guess we've got Carty back. His power went out, by the way. Carty, I assume your top 2, the cliffhanger you left us on was Wheeler, Yamamoto, correct?
It's even better that it did it again. Like
I thought he was pulling to you and was messing with me.
So good. I mean, it would have been funny had he done that.
What if he's still doing it? What if this is still the long game and he's just been frozen for 20 seconds just waiting to get us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he said I'm doing a show with Stevie, and I know Stevie's going to talk about lefty mashers and, you know, BVP and hot streak. I got to unplug my power. I mean, right. I got to make it look legit so Devin doesn't get mad at me, you know?
I can't handle it. Yeah, that's probably it. So, all right, let's get back to do you think playing this guy is going to be like the chalky play in tournaments? Like his ownership on DK is coming in higher than Yamamoto.
Yeah, I think in tournaments, a lot of people are going to try to fit in Padres. I mean, they're just clear top offense on the slate today. So fitting in Padres plus Wheeler Yamamoto is almost impossible, but fitting in Padres with one of Wheeler Yamamoto and then Woods Richardson is kind of the chalk build. It's definitely the build that I would build in like a cash game type build. I don't play cash games, so I'm playing Woods Richardson knowing that like he's not this like great pitcher and just kind of saying, you know, how do I get different? And I'm getting different with like Philadelphia instead of the Padres, getting different with stacking some different teams with my Padres stacks. But if you're playing with Richardson Padres, make sure you have a really low owned like secondary stack.
Yeah. Okay. Good note. Carty, I think you're back. You got us twice. You got us twice with the build up and then the freeze. When you said there's two obvious pitchers, was that Wheeler Yamamoto or was it Woods Richardson and one of these dudes? Because I feel like you freaking love 4K pitchers, and don't tell me you don't.
I do. I really do. I was talking about Wheeler and Yamamoto, obviously just from a raw standpoint, like Woods Richardson is not on the Wheeler Yamamoto level, but he is 4K in a good matchup. And so, I mean, he's easily the top point per dollar guy in the slate. It's just a matter of like, do you need him? In GBPs, he's going to be super popular. Like, is he like, it's not like he projects that well overall. He projects for like 12 or 13 points, I think.
Yeah.
And he's going to be probably the second highest owned pitcher on the slate. So I like those guys more when people aren't going to play them.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. For your cash build, is it Wheeler Yamamoto for you, or are you throwing in the cheap guy to get some bats?
I wouldn't say it's wrong to throw in the cheap guy, but I think Wheeler Yamamoto is easy enough to do.
Okay. Very nice. Any other names you want to add here? I mean, we've maybe not literally, we've mostly only talked about three pitchers, Wheeler Yamamoto and Woods Richardson. Carty, anyone else that you've got interest in?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of an okay mid-tier with like Verlander, Castillo, Reagans that are going to be a lot lower owned than Wheeler and Yamamoto. They don't project as well, but you can definitely have some of them. If you want a cheap-ish guy that isn't Woods Richardson, I think Andrew Haney's probably a good bet. Yeah, that's pitching.
Okay, very good. Let's kick it over to stacks. And
Really
Carty,
quick,
I will let you.
Really quick.
Yeah,
I just want to play devil's advocate to Carty because it's fun, first of all. And second of all, Justin Verlander got smoked in his first start. It didn't show up in like the stats, but if you look in the advanced stats, the stats that me and Carty love to look at, he really didn't pitch good. So I just wanted to throw like caution to the wind because like his pitch count isn't going to be up anyway, because he missed almost a month with shoulder injury. And we're looking at the advanced stats. It's like, all right, if he was facing anybody besides Washington, he probably doesn't make it past like the fourth inning the other day. So I'm not saying the Cubs are this great offense, but I'm saying the Cubs are an above average offense. Verlander's fastball got absolutely smoked. 60% hard hits in his first start. So I just want to throw caution to Verlander. I think Verlander, especially if like we're getting less ownership now, potentially with this weather situation that Roth is talking about, I think like we're going to see a lot of that ownership potentially go to Verlander, and I'm more interested in stacking against Verlander than playing Verlander today.
Okay, that's a good note.
Yeah. So Verlander's not going to have, the 110 pitch upside today. He's probably going to be capped around 90, 95 or so. I forget where the bat has him. The bat has him at 93. So upside, maybe not there. But first start back, there's always a chance for some rust. And if you look at his stuff numbers, they were fine. They were actually better, the best they've ever been. So I'm not overly concerned about, not the best they've ever been, but they were better than last year. They were fine. So I'm not overly concerned, but yeah, I guess the upside is a little more limited than you generally want for Verlander, especially if we do think ownership's going to go on to him.
Yeah. Very nice. Devin pointing out you could hear the bat powering up. little Mario noises. All right, let's do it. Let's dive into some of these stacks. Carty, what do you got?
Yeah, so Stevie mentioned it, but the Padres are going to be like the super chalk here, and they're great. I mean, they're in Coors. Dakota Hudson is pretty terrible. I think there's plenty of comparable offenses though, where you don't have to go crazy on Padres. Like you can find plus EV ways to play them, but I think you're in just as good shape playing the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Rockies, the Mariners. I think they're kind of all in the top tier today. I don't think the Padres really are so much better that you have to go crazy getting them at high ownership.
That's it. That's all you got?
I mentioned like 5 teams. That's
I don't know. It was quick. I'm trying to get one tweet out to tell people about the weather. I don't even get it.
What I will say, you can definitely have at least mini stacks of the White Sox. With how chalky Woods Richardson is going to be, and with how he's really not anything special, and how cheap the White Sox are, they do project really well for the prices, and you get a lot of leverage off of that dude.
Woods Richardson. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Stevie, what do you got here stack wise?
People saying in chat that you're still on a break.
Man, it's not my finest. You know what? You get back from vacation. It's a little rusty coming back. I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we appreciate you being back. I'm glad that you had a good time with the fam. I mean, it's clearly the Padres. Like, Dakota Hudson stinks. I mean, I'll say it. Carty was kind of being nice, but Dakota Hudson is awful. So Padres are in a tier of their own. The Rockies lineup kind of is bad today. Vasquez isn't anything special. It's just one of those things where you just kind of close your eyes and stack the Rockies today because they're in a good spot and it's a great ballpark and it's some of the best hitting condition that we have on the slate. I mean, we didn't really even touch on that, but we have a lot of games in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s weather-wise. It's like 75 in Coors today, according to Weather Edge. So, I mean, it's a good spot as far as like hitting conditions. After we get out of Coors, though, I love Minnesota and I love Philadelphia today. Soroka is awful. He's one of, if not the worst pitcher on the slate. He might actually be worse than Dakota Hudson. I don't know how this guy is still pitching in the bigs. I don't know how they don't have somebody, but the White Sox are just kind of just throwing anything they have at the wall right now as far as pitching. So I absolutely love Minnesota today. And then Philadelphia, I think, is one of the best like hedge stacks on the slate. And then I wouldn't even say hedge, maybe leverage. They're just not getting a ton of ownership, and they're facing Nick Martinez in Cincinnati. Like, this is a fantastic spot, and it just seems like no one's really playing them. They're not really popping in Sims as much as I thought they were going to last night. So I love Philadelphia. And then, like, secondary stacks, Cleveland and Boston. I mean, Cleveland is not the best team in the world to stack, but Chase Anderson stinks. Boston's lineup is kind of bad, but Tristan McKenzie is throwing fluff balls like 2 miles an hour slower than he was last year because he has an elbow injury. So, I mean, you're just kind of playing these guys that are potentially hurt and not ready to go. And then I already kind of talked about the Cubs. I wish the Cubs lineup was a little bit better against Verlander today and the weather was better, but there is a secondary stack I'm looking at too.
Okay, very good. Let's go around the horn, position by position. You could start us off with some catcher talk. Stevie, what do we like? Hey, by the way, before we dive into it, how'd it go when I was gone with the replacement weather dude? You can tell me, like, hopefully it sucked and you can't live without me, but also kind of hopefully it went okay.
We can't live without you.
Yeah. But I kind of want it to go well, so I'm allowed to leave too. Any noticeable issues?
I mean, I sent you a message this morning, so you already know my thoughts. But no, I mean, yeah, that was my thoughts.
Yeah. All right. Didn't mention the wind in Wrigley. You got mad about that?
It wasn't even like I was mad. It was just like, I think it's a heads up spot. Like,
yeah,
there's a couple other like updates that could have been sharper. Like, you've been doing it long enough that you like know
what DFS
like,
players want.
Yeah, I mean, what we want. So,
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it was bad. You can go on vacation. We all need a break, but we love having you here.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll take it. Some people pointing out there was really no weather. There were no weather issues while I was gone.
Yeah,
and I hate that. It makes me so mad. I want to take off the days when the weather is horrible. All right, let's go around the horn. Catcher talk. Stevie, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, catcher is a position I love to spend down at. So I think Mitch Garver is in a really good spot against Heaney today. We didn't really talk about Heaney. He's like, if he has his command and control back, like he could potentially be an option at pitcher today, but it's just not there right now. So Garver on the cheap end. The Coors catchers are cheap. It'd be interesting to see like if Will Smith cracks the lineup for the Dodgers today. It's a day game after a night game, so he might get the day off. But they also DH him from time to time, so they might DH him here. And then JT Realmuto against Martinez. Again, just absolutely love Philadelphia today.
Okay, Carty.
The one guy I'd throw in that he didn't mention is Mitch Garver.
Oh, known lefty masher, I do believe.
Known lefty masher, Mitch Garver.
He was the first guy I talked about. Of course, he's a lefty masher. Got to have him in there.
I missed him then. Okay. But yeah, Garver's my favorite. 3.5K, one of the better catchers on the slate just in the raw sense. Got that platoon advantage. I mean, if you need to punt, you have Kirk, you have Freddie Fermin, whoever. But really, it's Real Muto, it's Will Smith, it's the Colorado guys, it's Garver, it's Raleigh. That's kind of catchers.
All right, how about first base?
Ohtani on DK, where he's first base eligible, is pretty much always going to be the top guy. Don't think he's a priority today, lefty against Gore, but you can certainly play him, especially if you're stacking Dodgers. The San Diego, Colorado stuff projects well. Obviously, Jake Cronenworth looks good. Montero for Colorado looks good. As you start going down a little bit, I think Nate Lowe against Luis Castillo is going to be pretty sneaky. I like him quite a bit today when people are going to be playing more, Cronenworth, Harper, Freddie Freeman, whatever type stuff. So I like Lowe quite a bit, and I like Dylan Moore as a cheap option in that Seattle lineup.
Stevie?
I mean, Bryce Harper, baby narrative, right? Coming back from just having a baby. And just taking that out, it's Bryce Harper in a fantastic ballpark against a bad pitcher. So I think Bryce Harper has to be up there. I think Josh Naylor is in a really good spot. Anderson, he stinks. We don't expect Anderson to pitch too deep into this game either. He's kind of filling in for Pivetta, who just got put on the IL. So I think Anderson probably throws 80 pitches at a ceiling. I think he's probably more in the 60 to 70 range. And then the guys that Carty mentioned, Cronenworth, I think is a great spot. Texas overall is going to be sneaky. Castillo has been really good or really bad to start the season, so I don't mind that. And then if you're not playing Woods Richardson, Gavin Sheets is the best hitter in the White Sox lineup this year. So I think Gavin Sheets, I'd probably play him more in the outfield than I would at first base, but he's definitely in my pool today.
Okay, great. Did get a quick question from Jerry. Who is the FanDuel cash pitcher to build around? Yamamoto's not on FanDuel. We don't want to just do the cheap guy on FanDuel, so it was the third one.
It has to be Wheeler. If you're playing cash game on FanDuel, I think you have to build around Wheeler.
Yeah, okay. Second base, Stevie, what do you got?
I mean, Mookie Betts is the best hitter in baseball this year. His hot streak numbers are way through the roof. So, I know Carty likes that guy. But, yeah, I mean, if you're not paying up for, Mookie or potentially, Bogarts, I think you're just kind of going down to, a Julian, who's in a great spot against Sorka. He's really cheap. He's probably my favorite. He's my highest owned right now. I'm still waiting for a couple lineups to, finish my builds. But Julian's my highest owned second baseman today.
Carty?
Julian worries me just a little because of the pinch hit risk. This seems like the kind of day where I did an under bet on him earlier today. So Tanner Banks is their long man lefty in the pen. Hasn't pitched in quite a few days. He's the most well-rested out there. I think there's a decent chance we see him right after Soroka and Julian gets pinch hit for. I think he's fine, but for me, I think there's guys I prefer a little bit more. Obviously, I like the San Diego stuff. I like Bogarts. But I like the Seattle. I've mentioned a lot of Seattle stuff. I mentioned Dylan Moore at first base. I like him here at second as well. I like Jorge Polanco a lot here at second. Nicky Lopez hitting leadoff against Woods Richardson, I think is great. He's min price leadoff man, and you get leverage off of Woods Richardson, and he doesn't project for that much ownership either, which is kind of nuts. So I think he's really interesting. I think Danny Mendick in the same lineup hitting second is really interesting. Second base is a spot to save money today, in my opinion, if you're not going up to Bogarts, Cronenworth, McMahon, Kim, the Coors guys.
Okay, excellent. How about third base, Carty?
All right. So another position where I don't love the high-end guys, you have Jose Ramirez, you have Rafael Devers. They're fine. On FanDuel, I think it's a little more realistic to maybe try to get up to one of them. And then you have your Colorado guys. You have McMahon, you have Kim. McMahon in particular is the one I probably have the most interest in. And then you have cheap guys. Mendick again on DraftKings is third base only. So Mendick for 2.7 is a good play. Josh Smith in that Texas lineup for 3.3 I think is a good play. Bobby Dalbec for min price on DraftKings against McKenzie, who's pitching through a UCL injury for some reason still. I like Dalbec a lot.
Okay. Stevie, third.
Yeah, I mean, the top options, this is one of those days I think, like, if you can make it work, paying up for Ramirez, McMahon, Devers, they're just in a tier of their own today. It's not even close. So those three guys for sure. And then, like, if you're going down, I hate to say it, but, like, Mendek is not bad. He's really cheap. And, like Carty said, he just kind of get a little bit of leverage off of the cheap chalk pitcher here. So don't mind him. And then on FanDuel, I'm going to keep saying it. Like, Garcia is just way underpriced on FanDuel. It's not the best matchup against Barrios, but he's a guy, like, if he gets on, he's going to run. So, like, he gives you stolen base upside, and he's cheap. So I don't mind him. Alec Boehm is hitting in that, like, 4-hole today. And Martinez, again, very splits neutral type pitcher. So I don't mind Alec Boehm. He is a lefty masher, but Boehm's just a good hitter in general. So,
he's a what?
You don't think Alec Boehm's a good hitter?
I dare you.
I'll keep saying, I can't wait for him to homer in his first at bat today. I'm gonna blow your Twitter up, and then when he goes 0 for 4, I'm just gonna mute you. So it's fine. It works both ways for me.
All right, where are we at here? Shortstop, I do believe. Stevie, what do you got?
Like, Carty, it's wild, like, how good shortstop is and how good it's become over the last few years. Like, you're almost paying up more at shortstop than you are at first base nowadays. It's just. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Witt, De La Cruz, Corey Seager, like Tovar, Kim, like, any of these top options are guys you want exposure to. Like, you're losing so much ceiling if you're paying down at shortstop nowadays. So, like, prioritize shortstop every slate. Like, find ways to prioritize shortstop.
Okay. You got a favorite? I mean, you listed 7 that are legitimately good plays.
No, I mean, I pay up for anybody like Seager, Witt, Turner, Betts, like any of those guys. Tovar, Kim, like, I hate to say it, like, even Bichette against Reagan's, like, any of these top end shortstops, I'm just paying up as much as I can at shortstop today.
Okay. Carty?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Seager's the guy that I like the most. On FanDuel, he's very reasonably priced. On DraftKings, I probably prefer saving the 1,000 on Tovar or Kim. I mean, Kim's fine too. Cheaper stuff, like, you can play a guy like Willie Castro against Soroka for 2.7. I don't mind that, but this is kind of a spot where the high-end options are really good today.
Okay, great. That brings us to the outfield. Carty, what do we got?
We'll start in cores because that's kind of where the slate always starts. On the high end, Fernando Tatis is going to be the best play. On the low end, Hunter Goodman for 2.5 on Colorado on DraftKings is going to be the best play. But pretty much any of the outfielders from that game are going to be strong options. But Tatis is the one that you're going to prioritize. He's, like, probably the highest priority player on the slate. I've mentioned a lot of Seattle guys that I like. Julio Rodriguez on FanDuel is only 3.3K, and he's leading off platoon advantage against Haney. I like Julio a lot at that price. I mentioned Willie Castro at shortstop, but he also qualifies in the outfield on FanDuel. And so for 2.3, I think he's really good. I think Dylan Moore as a cheap guy is really good. I like Kyle Schwarber quite a bit against Martinez in that park. I like Max Kepler against Soroka on FanDuel. And Dylan Moore on DraftKings is one of my favorite cheaper guys.
Stevie, some outfield names for me?
Yeah, I'll start at the cheap end. Like, Narnich is someone that I really like here against Soroka. Like, again, Soroka just kind of stinks. And then after that, like, just going to kind of spread out my ownership on some of these cheap bats. Like, I'll have a little bit of, like, Jake Cave, which makes me, like, did you see me, like, throw up in my mouth a little bit there? Hunter Goodman, like Carty said, I hate playing, like, chalky cheap outfielders. And, like, Goodman's going to be chalky today. Like, just kind of where his price is and, who he's facing. But I say chalky. In single entry stuff, he probably comes in around like 15 to 20%. In large field stuff, probably in the 10 to 15%. But still more than I want to pay. Like, play a cheap guy. And then, like, kind of going up here, Mitch Haniger has some BVP against Heaney. So have to have Haniger in there with some BVP. I know Carty likes Haniger as well. That really factors into the bat. Kirilloff, bat and leadoff against Soroka. Rodriguez against Heaney. And then, yeah, I mean, Tatis, Schwarber, Garcia, Alvarez, all these guys up towards the top are fine. It's just, like, outfield is always one of those positions where who am I stacking? I'm going to get probably 2 outfielders from most teams in my stack. So, but, got to get the Mitch Haniger BVP in there.
Got to do it. Eric Johnson mentioned that earlier in the show. He said, "Don't forget about."
That's the only reason I knew there was BVP, and I was like, "That's a perfect opportunity to like mess with Carty." So I, took it.
Just trusting this guy purely just to mess with Carty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. If he's 1 for 2, I don't care. Like, perfect.
That's all the sample size we need. What we need, gentlemen, we've got about 20 minutes until lock, I do believe, which is a ton of time. We're going to take some questions, and we need some home run calls here. Stevie, I feel like Bohm is my call. I think he's going. He's just a good hitter. He's going yard, Carty.
Just because he's a good hitter, that's the only reason, Roth?
That's it. Yeah, that's all. It. Stevie, what do you got for me for some home run calls?
Oh, I got to take the new daddy to hit a home run, man. Give me Bryce Harper. New dad or not, it's just a phenomenal spot for him today. So I like that. I was hoping that Julio Rodriguez would be lower owned today, but he's not. But I really like him to hit a home run. He's in a funk, but he's too good of a hitter. Like, he's going to snap out of it. He's going to start hitting the ball. We're starting to see, like, Aaron Judge get out of his funk. And, Julio Rodriguez is going to get out of his funk, too. So, and then let's go to the cheap end. My lineup HQ just crashed, so hold on a second. Cheap end home run, give me Julian to hit a home run just because Carty said he's going to get pinch hit for him.
That's fair. You're going to need it in one of the first two at-bats.
You're good.
Hey, listen, I will take a home run from second base and 1 at-bat and then get pinch for. I don't care. That's fine.
Yeah. John says Harper isn't starting, ? Do we know this? Do you have a starting lineup?
Harper's starting.
Are we making that
Unless
up?
he got scratched, but he's starting.
I have not seen anything on it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We are under the impression he is starting. So
yeah, I saw the note this morning that he got activated from the paternity list. So yeah, he's in there.
All right. Very good. Carty, your turn. Give me some. He's in the 3-hole apparently. Carty, give me some home run calls. What do you got for me?
Top guy is Kyle Schwarber. It's just such a good spot for him. In terms of something a little more under the radar, I guess, Cal Raleigh. He projects for one of the top rates of the whole night. So he's just been great.
I approve. I like me the big dumper. All right, we've done home run calls. We're gonna take some QQs. We have 18 minutes until lock. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do for 18 minutes. We might not make it, but we're gonna try. Make sure you get those questions in, and we'll see how it goes. No, there's like no questions. There's nothing coming in here.
It's because we do such a good job breaking it down. Like, we come in and break it down after Dean, and it's like, all right, here we go. Finally, some people that like know what they're doing, and like Dean's just here to talk like TV shows and stuff. So like, they're like, Stevie can talk NASCAR. Hey, I do have a NASCAR podcast after this, so I am ready to talk some NASCAR.
Plug it. What does that mean? A NASCAR podcast?
Oh, we do a betting podcast it's a RG Action Network betting podcast. So running hot, and we'll have some NASCAR picks up on that. But one of my favorite bets this week, and I'm just going to give it out now because I chat is what's up. Alex Bowman top 10 -110. It's moved to -150 on books. Jump on this right now because it's going to move. It's one of his best tracks, if not his best track. Love Alex Bowman top 10 at -110. It's -112. Is the best line right now.
I thought that was the guy who we were talking about hitting a home run.
I know. Maybe I just got the two names mixed up. Maybe Alex Bowman's a good hitter and Alex Bowman's a good race car driver. I don't know.
Okay. That's a good note. Did I tell you when I was in charge of the RG squad rides, I kind of got peer pressured. I wanted to pick your NASCAR bet. Right? I had won 2 in a row. I was going for 3 in a row, and I felt a lot of pressure because I'm the weather guy. And my immediate thought as I looked at these bets was, I want Stevie's NASCAR bet. That is a winner. And then everybody started saying, you got to do this other bet. You got to do this baseball bet. It's a can't miss bet. This is the one. So I pivoted off of your bet to a baseball bet that was the best bet of the day, the best bet of the month. And that bet failed me, Stevie. And I will never, ever, ever go against you again.
But hey, did the NASCAR bet hit? Yes, it did.
You're damn right it did. Yeah.
NASCAR squad rides on Sunday. I'm telling people.
I don't know why we don't do it.
Not at Talladega. I got smashed at betting last weekend, but we're gonna crush it this weekend. I'm ready for it.
Is there certain ones that just there's more accidents and more chaos and harder to predict, and you're like, I don't know, everyone just crashes, and how the hell am I supposed to know who does and does not crash?
Basically last weekend, right? Talladega is a super speedway race. They're running 190 miles an hour, 35 deep, 2-3 wide. Like all it takes is one bad block, like it did last weekend. They wrecked like 40 cars, or it wasn't 40, but it was like 20 cars got wrecked at the end of the race. So I think those types of races, like compared to like Dover, it's a low incident racetrack, even though it's very unique. Like it's more predictable. And then like we can go to like some of these like 1.5 mile tracks. Carty would have a field day trying to project Talladega, though. I would pay to see that.
Why? I'm sorry to get off track here, but I know nothing about NASCAR. Why is it faster and more accidents at Talladega? Is it longer and longer straightaways? Is it a steeper gradient so they can turn faster?
There's no separation, right? You can run 75% throttle at Talladega and stay in the draft. You got to run 100% throttle at Texas to stay even close to people. And like you can actually pass and make moves at Talladega, where like some of these tracks, like you're gonna have 10 cars just better than everybody else, and you're just not gonna touch them or catch them. So
yeah,
it just depends on the track type. The track type matters so much.
Okay, interesting. I'm learning things here.
We need really quick before we get into QQs. We need a weather update. Like, what are we doing with the pitchers in this game? Getting closer to lock here.
Like, I need a weather update from them, Stevie. It looks. It just, the game is still more than an hour out, right? The game doesn't start for almost an hour and a half. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a 2:10 start.
The best case scenario, I think, is you get halfway through the game. That is the absolute best case scenario, and there are certainly scenarios worse than that. If you want to try it and throw a little dart at a pitcher in that game, okay. Like I'm in a tournament, okay, but definitely check back with me before first pitch, because I think I'll have a
travel day tonight. Like I don't know.
I'm just surprised they haven't postponed it, because I think trying to finish this game, there's going to be like a 5-hour delay in this game. There's going to be a 5-hour time period where they're not playing baseball. So I don't know if they ever will finish 9 in this game either way. It's not crazy. You want to try a pitcher. It's not insane, but I probably wouldn't at this point. And it's not a travel day, right? Because I think, these teams have games tomorrow, unless that.
They travel. They travel today.
I got you. Right. I see what you're saying.
They're both like the Kansas City is on the road too. So like they're traveling. I'm pretty sure they played in Detroit. Is what I saw earlier.
Yeah. All right. Back to some QQs. Look at that. We killed a little bit of time, and we got some good questions coming in. Is Assad okay in a DKGPP from Big Brown, who's got a big bass in his profile picture? Stevie, is Assad okay in a DKGPP?
I mean, Houston has been awful, but like throughout the years, like Houston's one of the best offenses in baseball. They don't strike out. Assad's a below average strikeout pitcher. So I would say no. I wouldn't play Assad today. Like I'd take shots on like in tournaments. I'd take shots on like a Heaney, who we know is boomer bust, before I would play Assad.
Okay. Love this question from Chinatown. Oh, did he delete it? He deleted it. And I like that question. Oh, no, here it is. Carty, who's the better stud? I believe he's talking pitcher to pay up for if you're slumming SP2 with mini 3 names, he calls him. Mini 3 names.
So mini 3 names is going to be really popular. And I think Wheeler is going to be quite a bit more popular than Yamamoto. Did I freeze again?
You did, but you fought through it. It was really touch and go there for a minute, but I think we got you.
Yamamoto is the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on with power today. It's like keeps
you're all right.
Almost blacking out.
All right. Got some brownouts in Jersey there. Is it crazy to fade Coors? Carty, is it crazy to fade Coors?
No, definitely not.
No? Okay. No, not at all. All right.
I think it's crazy to fade Coors today, but
you think it is?
Yeah, like from a cash perspective, yes. From a tournament perspective, even more. Like the Padres project so much better than everybody else on the slate. It's baseball, so you can fade anybody. And I think the question, like, are you fading them in like a 3-entry build? Okay, that makes more sense. But are you fading them in 150? Like, I think that just no. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Okay. Salary is the same, Stevie. Trey Turner or Tatis on DK?
Tatis.
DK Cash, Stevie, back to you. Garver or Tovar versus Compensano and Kim?
The first one.
Okay, great. Beaner says, who's a good pitcher in a FanDuel GPP? Who's a good pitcher in a FanDuel GPP? Carty, you got a name for me?
I mean, there's lots of pitchers you can play in a FanDuel GPP today, but I guess give me Luis Castillo.
Very nice. Tom says your top 2 pitchers in DK Cash. Carty, you said for you don't think you're going with mini 3 names in DK Cash because you can get some bats that you want even with the double spend.
There's enough good value bats on this slate where I think you can just go Wheeler Yamamoto.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else we got jumping into the YouTube. By the way, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, did you know the show it's free? You're not paying anything. All that we ask that you hit that like and subscribe button for us. Make sure you are subscribed. That way you get all the updates, you get all the notifications, and we're going to answer your questions in the YouTube as well. Let's see what we've got here. FanDuel, last man in, Carty, Bohm, Bush. Is this even a real question? Denver's or McMahon?
McMahon.
Is Denver's a person, or do you mean Devers?
Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
All right. Confuse the hell out of me. What else do we got? Jake says, could we rank the top 3 Minnesota hitters to choose regardless of position or price? Stevie, I will give that one to you. Top 3 Minnesota hitters regardless of position or price. Just the best 3 hitters.
Larnach, Kirilloff, and Julian for me. I know Carty pointed out a really good point. I like Julian getting the pinch hit risk, but I will say, like, his pinch hit risk has been a little bit lower this year. So, I mean, potentially gets to hit, especially like if you get a guy that gets up there and gets 2 hits early in the game, you're likely not going to pinch hit for him in the third at bat. Where he might get pinch hit for is like in a close game towards the end, but it's not going to be a close game. White Sox stink.
Okay, fair enough. Cal or Mitch in a Mariners stack. You can only play one on DK. Stevie, who do you got? Cal or Mitch?
I mean, I got to go with the lefty masher. Give me Garver.
Nice.
He's cheaper too. Like, all jokes aside, like, Garver's just cheaper today. So I mean, I love saving money at catcher, especially when you have like a chalk pitcher. So saving the $600 doesn't sound like a lot, but yeah, I think saving the money on Garver is fine.
Okay. Carty, Devers, Ramirez, or another FanDuel third baseman?
Any context at all, or just pick one?
Just one, or pick another one.
Ryan McMahon projects as the top one today. Him and Kim are very close, so I'd take either of them before Ramirez or Devers.
Okay. Mitchell says, Carty, we need the good home run betting odds, which is always a question I forgot to ask, but I do like it. Who is the best projected bet to make for a home run?
There is very, very little today, but the best one is Davis Schneider plus 950. It's not showing crazy value, but there's a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Is that value, though, like, potentially hurt by the fact that, like, we only might get half a game if it plays at all?
So that's not in the projection. So yeah, probably don't.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, taking like that out, like, just remember, like, Roth is saying, like, even if that game plays, we might get a half a game. But hey, Schneider could hit a home run on his first one and put egg in my face. I just wanted to point that out.
Right, but then it's it's no longer value if we're only projecting a guy for 2 or 3 at bats instead of 4 or 5. All right, what else do we got here? Who is the top projected batter in cores, Carty? Is it Tatis?
Tatis.
Yeah. All right. Carty, right back to you here. Twins pinch hit risk. Rank them. By the way, we've got about 5 minutes here until lock.
Sure. So Trevor Larnach, 57% is the highest. Julian, 26% is next. Kirilloff, 15%. Miranda, 12%. That's for guys.
Okay, great. Stevie, Garver, or Kepler on FanDuel, they are the same price.
I'm sticking with my Twins today. Give me Kepler. We should note that Will Smith not in the lineup today.
Yeah. And I just saw someone say, what are the odds that Will Smith is going to be in the lineup? Officially 0. Oh, I got the cheese thing happening. My lawn people are here. Just right up.
You don't do your own lawn?
No. God. It's Houston.
I would have said that. I would have pictured you as a lawn guy. You're a Florida guy. Like, I would have pictured you a lawn guy.
God, I had to do it for like, I don't know, a few months once. And my life goal is to make enough money so that I never have to do that again.
I'm in the exact same boat. I never.
Well, listen, we all knew Carty wasn't a long guy. Like,
that's
Hunter, like that wasn't even a question. Like, not even a remote question. It's like saying Carty's like saying that like Dean's a long guy. Like, that's just not happening. You know,
right? There are certain folks amongst us who could do it, and others who are just clear nose. Carty, you do fall in the clear no category on that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's not there's anything wrong with that. K-Town's Finest says, how about Harper? Baby narrative thoughts? I feel like we both liked Harper. Baby narrative or no, right?
Yeah, good spot.
Stevie did. Yeah. What else do we got? A few more questions coming in here. Chinatown has like a Carty bat question. You can like ping him on that one individually if you want. Amateur Hour says, DK single entry GPP straight up. Stevie, Miranda versus Castro in a Minnesota mini stack. Miranda versus Castro, Minnesota mini. Straight up, price doesn't matter.
I think Castro is the better play.
Okay. Carty, thoughts on a Washington 3-man stack versus Yamamoto?
That's not for me. If you're going to stack against a chalky pitcher, stack the White Sox.
Okay.
And like Yamamoto, like Washington doesn't have like the power guy. Like, who's the power guy that's going to take Yamamoto deep? Abrams? I don't know if we classify Abrams as a power guy.
Dean saying Carty was plus 90,000 to be a lawn guy. I would like to know the Venn diagram of people who are lawn guys and have custom shampoo. I don't think they overlap at any point.
Yeah, I don't think there's any overlap whatsoever.
There's zero.
Like as much crap as we give Carty, like we know what he is. He's right. The guy that you go to for projections. Like his projections are fantastic. I bust his balls all the time, but I use the bat and the blitz every week.
Yep, right. He's the brains, not the brawn. He's the brains.
I don't know what to say nice about Dean. I mean that's all I got. Like I can say nice things about everybody. I did say earlier today though. I like Dean's videos every day because I do like Dean. I don't know if I like his TV choices, but I like his breakdowns.
Dean also does such a great job of just taking shit from everyone and it never gets to him. He's just always in such a good mood. It's amazing.
He's like one of the first people I'll like go up to and like give a hug because like Dean's my dude, right? Like, so I mean, when we go to like the RG parties, like Dean is like one of my friends that I've known forever here. So
he is very much so beloved in the community, no doubt about that. What do we got here? Would you play De La Cruz against Wheeler in a FanDuel GPP? Carty?
I mean, you can. Wheeler's going to be popular. De La Cruz has been ridiculous this year. He's probably playing over his head a little bit, but I'm not going to tell you not to do it.
Okay.
He's really good.
Yeah. Stevie, Bohm or Harper or Cronenworth FanDuel GPP?
Is that a real question? Harper. I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's not a real question. That's fake.
Easy enough. Stevie, this might be a real question. It's from Amateur Hour. DK GPP, it's a 3v3. You got pitchers and hitters mixed in. DK GPP, Yamamoto, Julian Miranda, or Wheeler, Castro, Rojas?
The first one.
Okay, great. Less than 2 minutes until lock here. We're cruising. Haven't heard anything from Kansas City. Oh.
There's something special about having the dual ability to hear Carty start angrily typing and see Derek Carty is typing in the Discord.
Yeah, no, I noticed it too. I thought the same thing.
I was like, I have no questions about who is typing right now.
Right. I just want to let Carty just like hammer that out. All right.
What does he mean texting? I'm missing.
He's not even angry. He just types.
It's not an angry one.
He could be typing like "I love you, mom," and he's like, he's just hammering the keys. Like he's just an angry typer. It's just the way he rolls. All right. Guess what?
Oh, I totally forgot to submit my lineups.
Oh, that's not
I got 10 seconds. I'm good. Yeah, I ran another build without Will Smith, and I forgot to hit enter. So we're good. We're good. It's done. No Will Smith. Knew he wasn't going to play, but I mean, there was a slight potential that they sat Ohtani and let Will Smith DH and like gave Ohtani a day off. But yeah, Ohtani probably doesn't get a day off today.
He should never really get a day off because he's the man.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna bounce on out of here. I think we did our thing. We made it all the way up until the lock. What I didn't do is do my promo reads, and I don't want to get fired. So you all are gonna hang out with me until I do it right about now. Which is to say, there has never been a better time. Sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. NBA, PGA, NHL, MMA, MLB. Great option for whatever level you're looking for. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250, by the way, instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. And you can get your first month of RG Premium for $40 off. It's a limited time thing, $40 off. If you want to test around the product before you buy, you can kind of dip your toes in the water here. 3-day pass, $19.99. Check the link in the description for more info. We are going to get on out of here. So for Stevie, for Carty, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been